Hello, everyone. Welcome to another CPL Match of the Week. We got preseason week 2, Group 37. We got a little bit more preseason casting to do before the regular season starts. Reminder, we got a team reveal stream on January 9th. You should go on Discord, you can get details for that. You find out what team you're going to be on. We're going to be talking about the league, about the VAPs, about the whole thing. It's going to be super fun. Make sure you're there. Right now, you're here, and that's what I really want to see. With me and my buddy, CoZ. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. I'm so excited for these games. Ready to hop right in?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, a lot, actually. Like, I'm actually jazzed to get started. We had to start a little bit late tonight, but that's fine. We got a match of the week tomorrow. It's usual time, 7 p.m., so be there for that. But tonight, it's a lot of Protoss. I know you guys want the Protoss, so we're gonna get you hooked up. I know. CoZ here is excited for a bunch of Protoss.
I live for the PvP matchup. I'm all about it.
Sure. Well, we'll find out. In the top right, we got IRK Standal in this beautiful red color. In the bottom left, we got Snail6 in the blue, and it's Protoss vs. Protoss. So let's just find out. Do you know anything about this matchup?
I know a little bit. I will say, fun fact, I could be totally wrong here, but I believe that Snail6 actually produces music himself. I think that he just recently came out with an album on Spotify. And if you're into electronic music, maybe ask him for a link. It's pretty good.
Yo, what?
Yeah, I could be totally wrong.
Yo, CPL sneaking in sponsorship deals for free? We're not getting paid for this. What are you doing? But that's actually rad. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like a year ago, I think he posted in one of the like the unlabeled section forums, and I was like, oh, all right, and I opened it up and I listened to it for probably a couple months. I still got a bunch of songs on there. I still listen to occasionally. It's good stuff though.
That's actually awesome. So neither player. The map is Eclipse. It's still week 2. All the week 2 games are on Eclipse. This I think is actually the Bombastic Star League. It has little flares on it to advertise for BSL, which is awesome. If you haven't watched that, you should check it out. But it's all Eclipse. I'm a little surprised to not see either player attempting the proxy. Every time I play on this map, I'm thinking about it. Like it's just like
it's wide open. It's right there, you know. And in a PvP, it's always tempting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very easy to find a spot where it's like, you probably won't get scouted. Neither player even considering it, though. Going with that gateway, gas, the normal kind of opening, and scouting afterwards. So just kind of going, you know what? If you're going to proxy me, you could just have the win. It's preseason. I don't care.
That's right. Yeah, this is consistent here. I'm very excited. I've only played against, it's either Stanel or Stanel. I'm not sure. I've only played against him a handful of times, but I remember him being quite a strong macro player.
Yeah, that's a name I remember from past season CPL. Looks like he's definitely climbing up the ranks, given that we're in Group 37 here. This is a little bit on the higher end, trying to figure out where to place people for the regular season, which you will find that out soon enough. But definitely a guy that's been around for a while, putting the work in. Cybernetics Core being started for Stanel, and if you look over at Snail6, hasn't really started anything yet. I'm curious if he's trying to get the probe out before making a decision, just kind of goofing up the build a little bit, which happens. It's, you know, if it's like your first game of the day or you're a little bit nervous. But finally down at the bottom starting at Cybernetics Core, but very significantly later compared to Stanel's. That's not what you want to be seeing in a mirror matchup. Yeah,
he really committed to trying to take out that probe from our IRK player. That was very interesting. He pulled 2 probes of his own to try and take it out, and unsuccessful, unfortunately. And due to that, his Cybernetics Core, it's going to be a little bit later. So I'm sure we're going to see the ramifications of that, especially down the line. But I think he's going to try to make up for that by building another Zealot here.
Yeah, well, so there's a couple different kinds of openings. Maybe try and do one of these sneaker things where it's like, if the scout's out of here and I can stop it, it's like maybe you can do like some DT stuff, you can do some really aggressive things, because the usual thing you're going to see is a X amount of gateways, usually around 2. Maybe you're seeing a robotics facility, which will probably get you to Reavers. There's like a normal kind of thing. It's either going to be Dragoons, Reavers, or, you know, just Dragoons. But there is the DT openings. There is kind of the weirder stuff. If you're trying to hide it, but you can see like this scout's still in Snail's base. And when you keep building Zealots like this, and just like the things are a little bit out of order here, and you can already look like the army for Snail just is so much better looking already, having the Dragoon and the range about halfway done already.
Yeah, his Robo's on the way too. His tech's a little bit faster, and we're seeing another gate from Snail. So we're already seeing that tech deviation. It'll be interesting to see 3 gates actually from Snail. So it's going to be a lot of pressure coming out of here from him, which makes sense given the 2 zealots he built earlier. I wonder if the decision to go 3 gates early on was simply because of his dynamic relationship with the scout.
I'm not sure. 3 gates is just kind of the style you can do. I know it's something I personally like doing because my Reaver control is not great. So having more Dragoons gives me a better chance to get out on the map, put some pressure on. The risk of doing stuff like this, either you have to get a Robo anyway, which will get you observers, and you won't be getting Reavers, you just be getting the core units, or you just plan to get like a big attack. Now you can see this looks suspicious. Well, you see Snail, 2 zealots and a Dragoon really blocking that ramp, trying to make sure nothing can sneak its way in and get some vision. Meanwhile, Stan'll back at home, piling down the low ground, looking like they're setting up for a reasonably fast expand, which you can see by 1 gateway and working towards that Reaver tech. So looking like they're going to try to take an expand early, while Snail's going to have a big gateway count, might be able to break it open.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of, this is going to be that classic, like, Reaver tech versus huge number of gateway units. And really that's going to come down to micro. Reaver micro is so important in this matchup.
Well, even that, we're not really seeing that. We see Stan will actually, with the robotics, got the observatory as well, going for the observer first, wants to be safe against DTs. When your opponent's really like guarding the ramp and making sure you don't see anything. You only saw 1 Dragoon at the ramp, so you don't know exactly what's happening. So making sure he's ready for DTs. And then I think what's going to come out of the robotics after that will just be straight to a Reaver, no shuttle. So the micro won't be as big of a thing. You can even see here 2 pylons at the front really trying to choke up that gateway, make it easier to defend. And here comes that probe with the Nexus, while Snail's moving across the map with not a lot of Dragoons, but it'll build up quickly off 3 gateways.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sizable force, and it's enough to break this, especially given that the Reaver's only about half done. So as long as the micro from Snail here is good enough, I think he can do a fair amount of damage.
Well, I mean, you can see here, there's a couple Zealots. That's going to be one of the big keys to open this up. But you have these pylons so if you're not target firing, you're going to be hitting pylons instead of fighting it. The Zealot's going in way early, though, taking a whole bunch of free damage. You can see right now there's a small Dragoon lead for Stan'll. That's the deal with the Zealots. Yeah. They die before Snail's even join into the fight.
Nice pullback on that Dragoon, but I think a very difficult running in there with that first Zealot. Looks like some good target firing here, but he's going to have to pull back, unfortunately.
Now the Reaver's done on its way over. Crawling, it's going to be up on the top of the ramp, so as long as you can keep that ramp reasonably guarded, these Reavers, big shot hitting all these Dragoons. You can see here Stan'll, with that Reaver in the back, that's going to be hard to get to. He's losing a lot of Dragoons, like, really closely. But that one Reaver could be that big turning point. Unfortunately, though, Stan'll doesn't have a lot of gateways to keep reinforcing his units, so losing all those Dragoons, I'm not sure how it's going to go. Stan'll's got to be very careful not to lose this Reaver, though.
Yeah, the success of this is hinging right on this one Reaver. I mean, he's only got 1 gate to reinforce, so he's got to be really careful here. Momentum's really swinging in Snail's favor. He's got a huge gateway count. He's got a lot of units. Really, I mean, this Reaver could do a lot of work, but it's going to need a shuttle to really get full effectiveness. But I like the decision to go another Reaver.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why you tend to see in this matchup 2 gateways in a Reaver. Because expanding is so difficult, so risky. If you lose all your army like this, you can see like this Reaver's unsafe, it can't do anything. This next is going to die for free. And then it's just going to come down to Snail having a ton more units. Snail having to add on more gateways now, try to catch back up. A second Reaver here, but still nothing even stops things from coming up the ramp. Now, Snail, with a big army, like if he wants to try and force his way up, you definitely could do it. But that's one of those ways that you can easily throw away victory. That if you go for that, I would actually love to see him just expand here instead and just contain down the bottom with all these Dragoons.
Yeah, he's world's his oyster right now. Snail can do a lot. I mean, he's got a good spread on his Dragoons, looking really good. I mean, we're not seeing a shuttle anytime soon, so I mean, he's looking real good. Take an expansion, put yourself even further ahead.
Well, Snail's signed that taking expansions is not how PvP works. Adding on a 4th gateway, getting a Citadel of Adun as well. So that tech's going to be on the way. Whether it's going to be for DTs, I wouldn't think so. But if you bypass Reavers, go straight into Storm. That's really great, especially on Reavers that don't have shuttle support. They're so slow they can't escape it.
Oh yeah, Storm can be devastating. He's also going for +1 attack. What's the normal logic behind when you should get a Forge, if ever, in this matchup?
Well, so Snail got the Forge in this earlier, which is it's a good move when you don't know what your opponent's doing. Like, he saw Reavers, but I think just that's more for that cannon he put in the main, just to make sure there's no DT, like, shenanigans. Because he did go a bunch of gateways, no observers. So he has to be a little bit worried about any kind of DT tech. Now we do actually see that Snail opted to go into Zealot Legs, not a Templar Archives, which is about halfway done now, so he's like really trying to lean into this big tech army, but still not taking that extra expansion. It doesn't seem that bad though if you look at both players. They're both on one base, they have similar probe counts, but now you can see the problem with what Snail's doing here. He's contained down the bottom, but he didn't take an extra expansion. Here comes a shuttle with some Reavers. There's no army at home to actually deflect this. A couple Dragoons, but their positions very spaced out.
Yeah. Yeah, this could end up doing a lot of damage. I like the move. I think I would have, me personally, I would have kept one. I'm obviously not a Pro Toss player. Take this with a grain of salt. I probably would have left 2 Reavers at the top of this ramp, really hedge my bets just in case there's any sort of bust from Snail. And just use 1 Reaver to harass. But with 2, man, he could easily wipe all these Dragoons in the main base and just wreak havoc.
Well, the part of the logic of having 2 Reavers is that you can actually fight these Dragoons. That's why them being so spaced apart matters. 2 Reaver shots kill off a Dragoon. But you can see the Reavers start taking a little bit of damage. 2 of the Dragoons back at home ready for defense, getting taken out. And Snail not pulling probes in time, but where's he going to pull them to? It's not like there's an expansion to go. So much damage being done by these Reavers. That's a big move by Snail to even up some of the damage he took here. Although, gotta be careful not to lose that to a cannon. And you see Snail has forced to action, has to try to go up this ramp, but look at all these Dragoons. There's units blocking it, and there's Reaver support here. This attack, I'm not sure. The Reaver does go down. Stanel should be trying to retreat home with his Reavers, but high ground advantage is definitely hard to work through with Dragoons.
Yeah, they fire so slow. That was a beautiful move from our IRK player. Very, very well done. And Snail's doesn't look like he's making a huge amount of headway, but he does have a DT out. That's going to help a lot. Nice. Excellent move. No observer here from Snail. I think this game is looking real good for Snail.
Yeah, this DT alone, this is part of the risk of when you're making your choices for PvP. Do you want detection? Do you want tech? Or do you just want a bunch of units? This is the reason why a lot of people don't just go for a ton of units. Need some kind of mobile detection so DTs can't deflect when you do a really big attack like this. That's why I like 3 gateways and just getting observers. Get the robo. Never going to get Reavers. Just getting observers is good. And you see, look at Stan already position. He's immediately taking that Nexus again, seeing it's like, you have to retreat. You took a bunch of damage. I'm in the control now. Doesn't have to be worried. Going to go back for that economic lead, which he currently has by a mile because of how many probes died from that Reaver harass. Yeah,
we kind of had to gloss over it, but that was, he halved the worker count for Snail very casually in a short period of time and then destroyed his army. This is an excellent position to be in. And he's got 2 Reavers still left over. He's got a shuttle. I mean, this is looking great.
Well, even ignoring the worker count here, look at the actual supply advantage. Much bigger for Stanel despite everything that happened. 2 Reavers back here. Beautiful storm putting some big damage, and the Reavers do go down almost immediately. So Snail finding a good storm, getting back in the mix. But again, no mobile observers. DT is just mowing through High Templar, mowing through all his units. And regardless if they can actually go up there and start doing damage ending the game, because there is that forge, there could be cannons. If these DTs can just keep him back at home, that secures that second base, and Stanel's unit lead is just going to stay up further. But these DTs are going to be able to stop these cannons. They're not even finished morphing yet.
Yeah, if he takes his cannon out here in the middle, in the mineral line, he's going to be in. That's going to be it, basically. So Snail's got to defend this if he's going to have any chance in this matchup.
I mean, even if he can't get to that cannon in time, the DTs could actually go on the top side and kill off the Templar Archive. And that was like Snail's one big thing that he did offer the Templar tech. If you could just take out that building, you see it's out of detection range, and there's the move to make sure that actually gets taken out. Snail in a terrible position now, other than just having some gateways, which that is not what you want to be doing in this matchup.
Yeah, this is a slow end here. I mean, we're seeing this second huge army coming down from the top right. He's got Zealot legs all finished. He's looking good. He's looking real good here. Now we're talking about just closing the show.
Yeah, so this is one of the real problems with PvP that I had to like fight my way through when I was trying to learn. It's like there's that everyone complains about the rock paper scissors, what build order you go, but actually closing in game, you saw that attack from Snail trying to go up the ramp like into a rough position. That's like the fastest way to throw a game possible. Go up a ramp when you just don't have the force to decisively do it, to know you can do it. And you can see here, like, Snail's not protecting the ramp. He would be getting similar kind of advantage here. Has this actually keeps him units back at home, make sure the DTs can't walk through their probes. So Snail's just walking right up here, has DTs doing big damage, but then just actually more units. These speed zealots doing so much work, and Snail's tapping out. That's a game one, pretty decisive, but it's not like Snail's position was bad, just little bit of a throw, which it happens, man. It definitely happens.
Yeah, PvP is an unforgiving matchup for sure. I mean, from the opening build decisions all the way to just simple positioning, like you got to be making good decisions consistently, and it's very, very easy to make even one slight mistake.
Yeah, that is the truth, actually. Like, you got to be so careful when you're trying to play PvP, because it's like, even just small stuff. You're like, oh, it's Dragoons versus Dragoons, but like 6 versus 5 can turn to one person winning with 4 Dragoons so quickly because of target firing and good micro.
Oh yeah.
So you gotta be so careful with the way you're picking these fights and engaging. So, like, Snail had a good advantage, but just couldn't hold on to it.
Always tough. Always tough.
Well, here you go. This is more comfort for you. In the top right, we've got Names. Names TV, I guess, and that's he goes on Twitch as well, so go for that. And then down the bottom left, Ash J. This is Jessica, Jesse, Jess SC2. Every season of CPL playing a different race. I guess this one's gonna be Protoss. I think last one was Terran. 2 before was Zerg. Like it's just one of these high-level players that just loves using CPL to help improve the game overall and like practice some of these off races, but I don't want to play against someone like this. It's like they can carry their way through an off race with just with their core mechanics. I don't want to be playing that person at all.
Yeah, that's a daunting task to deal with. Again, we were talking about this before the show. Like, I've played Jess, and she is quite solid. She thoroughly trounced me, so I'm very excited to see how she does against Names TV here.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one. Now, one of those things that I think about. Let me see. No, they didn't play it a good thing. Man, just trying to like use the minimap to observe black on Eclipse. Like that's a jerk move. Like don't pick black on Eclipse, or at least pick top or bottom. I can't like alt tab to be red blue, but that's okay. But one of the things when I'm seeing someone like Jess, they're practicing a race that's like that wasn't what they were mainly playing before. And they're trying to like learn new things. Do you like think they're just gonna err on the side of safety and just be like, well, if I can get through the early game, if I can take you to a macro game, I'm confident in my abilities there. So I'm curious if that's gonna be like have the decision, but apparently not. Like I was thinking, oh, like, maybe the late game, maybe the macro game, but here comes 2 gateways, not even part of a wall off. And this is not a 2-player map. There's no way to like hide this somewhere. Like this is gonna get scouted as long as Name sends out a drone. Which, at the moment, he has not. This might be a very rude awakening.
Yeah, he did open Overpool, so he's got that going for him. Not all hope is lost, but he's got to get... Oh, he's about to lose a drone, too. Oh, dear.
Well, I would imagine, like, Overpool, you'll have this pool in time, you can start getting some of the things, but if you can actually just block this hatchery and stifle the larva of the Zerg player, the Zealot will just build up so quickly and actually be able to stop it. Although, unfortunately, didn't block out that hatchery for too long. The probe killing the 1 drone, slowing down a little bit. And you see there's 6 Lings on the way. They're moving across the map. They're going to be the scout. And actually, if they can pick off that first Zealot, that won't be so bad. But Jesse responsibly not moving out with it right away and actually working towards the wall now. I think maybe seeing the opening and just realizing, like, I'm not sure how much damage I'm actually going to get with this and not trying to force the issue.
Yeah, this so far seems like a kind of a more defensive 2-gate, which is totally valid. I mean, that if you want to talk about builds that'll guarantee you getting into like at least the early mid game, the 2-base, the in-base 2-gate's so solid.
Well, Name's poking forward with 4 Lings, trying to see what's there, but sees 3 Zealots and no wall, so I think knowing exactly what's up, and you can see Name's keeping the Lings a little bit far ahead just to know if there is a move out, if they have to start reacting. A drone up at the 12 o'clock, starting at 3rd base as well. I'm curious to see what would, like in this spot, like what's the tech choice you're going for? Do you think you need muscle early? Like, do you want to go for Hydras, delay the lair a little bit? Or do you want to just rush Mutas knowing as like they're going for all these Zealots? Like if I can hold on and get to the tech, I'm in a good spot. While the Zealots move across the map, I don't think Jesse's planning to give Names a chance to figure that out.
Yeah, like, Names doesn't even have gas on the way, so really the order of the day is just a lot of Lings if he wants any sort of muscle. And he's not even building his gas anytime soon, so maybe he's just decided to double down on getting a couple creep colonies, setting himself up defensively, and just pounding out the drones and the Lings. We'll see though.
Well, Well, I don't know if the sunk is going to be done in time. 4 Zealots into the natural. Already on the sunken, that's being morphed. But some of the links were already out on the map, so a decent flank potential. But Name's hanging out by the egg, not immediately engaging. But it does seem like it's still a pretty decent fight that's going to be happening here. Zealot's taking big damage, and Sunken does finish. Going to be able to close this up, but a lot of Zealots going down, some of the links as well. But look at Name's drone count, how much he's have to invest just to survive right now.
Yeah, immediately after holding that, right into some drone production. And as I say that, 3 Zerglings were built. So nicely done. Nicely done. I'd like to see Jess follow this up with just a casual expansion, which that looks like the direction that she's heading here, taking her natural. Name's got that gas going on. I'm curious to see if we're going to see a layer. At this point, I think you're better off just committing to the Hydras or just getting ling speed and just pounding out. You've got yourself 12 drones. Things aren't looking so hot. Well, you're going against a 2-gate. It's rough.
Well, there's a decent prediction already. Hydra that on the way. Gas income not so big. Some Zealots trying to poke at the third, getting caught at the ramp. Lots of links around those. Going to be able to clean that up. And just as the forces on the map, looking a little bit weaker now, but it does buy time, gets that Nexus started. There's a couple cans at the front as well. So there's a forge. I'm surprised to not see the +1 weapons on the way yet, but that's just because Jesse hasn't taken the gas and looking like they're going to start doing that movement past this bare bones tech of Zealots and cans.
Yeah. That's a fair number of lings. Unfortunately, there's only 1 drone on gas, so we're not seeing really the gas income that would get him Zergling speed faster. Because I think that this would be very powerful if he had the Zergling speed to back it up. But this is still an intimidating number of lings. You can do some serious damage with this if you were to get the Zealots out in the open field without the support of the cannons.
I don't think Jesse's planning to move out. You can see here, trying to make the biggest wall of Zealots in history, holding hands across America to defend this base. But Jesse can keep moving forward. Now, meanwhile, while all this is happening, Jesse's starting to get gassed, Cybernetics Core on the way. But the probe count, it didn't really dip while all these fights are going. You can see a pretty healthy work count for Jess. Name's trying to start catching up on some of these drones, adding on some extra hatches as well. Still not going into that lair tech at all, and hasn't added more drones onto the gas. So I'm a little bit worried, because that's one of those things. If I see you don't have all the guys in the workers and all the guys in the gas, but meanwhile, before I make that point, Jesse moving out with some Zealots, big number here, and without the speed links, Names loses a couple before reacting. And this is still a pretty scary force. It's you can't rely on static defense as much because you got 2 bases because you took that 12 o'clock as a third. So I'm curious to see how this gets handled. You can see the Zealots moving towards that 12.
Yeah, Hydra production is starting to kick in here, but did a great job bringing that drone count back up, given the amount of the small window that he had to reprieve from these Zealots. But they're coming back twice as strong, so holding this third is going to be a tall order, especially if Jess gets up that ramp.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong move. Unlike last time we saw 3 Zealots coming in here, this is a lot bigger. And you see there's some Sunkens on the way. They're looking like they're going to be able to finish in time, so the Zealots backing off. I don't think they really want to be forcing that issue to happen. And as I say that, Jesse seems indecisive about where they want to be moving their stuff. Clogging up the ramp, so the Zealots doing good work against these Zerglings. Some drones come down to fight as well. I'm actually a little bit surprised about that, because not like these Zealots can actually get in that mineral line and really threaten anything. They don't need to be fighting here. You see Jesse losing another big fight, losing a bunch of these Zealots on the map again. But again, does buy a lot of time. Name's actually seeing that the fight was won, adding on a bunch more drones immediately. Look at that work count catching right back up.
Now Jess, recognizing that the Hydras are out on the field, is wisely putting down a couple extra cannons, really making sure she's safe. And hopefully behind this, we're going to see Names putting some more drones down, getting some Hydra speed, nicely done. Evo chamber, actually double Evo. Interesting. And no lair yet.
I'm a little surprised because I remember I looked at the base earlier. I saw Stargate being made, but that got canceled. Now it's Citadel of Indune. So I think Jesse's seeing what units were being made, thinking that going for Corsair not going to be quite the way to go, and actually adding on a second forge. So just in case, I guess the front gets broken, or maybe looking for a timing for that +1 armor. Doesn't want to wait for the weapons to finish. I'm curious to see what the move's going to be from here. Also, there's the Templar Archives on the way, adding a bunch of gateways. I think Jesse is looking like they want to commit to an attack soon. And that's why that Stargate just wasn't going to be useful. Scouting, if it doesn't matter if you know you're going for the attack either way.
Yeah. Interesting choice of tech for both players. I mean, Names is just now, his lair's about halfway done. So I think, Jess made an interesting choice saying, okay, I know that you didn't go Spire and your lair isn't up yet, so I don't actually have to go Stargate unless I want to. So opting for that, +1/+1 speed zealot pushes. Pretty interesting. I like that move.
I mean, I still love getting that Stargate, though. You can see if they.
Oh, that's right. You're a Stargate guy.
Well, I think most people are Stargate people.
Yep.
It's like you could see at the fourth base open. You could see when the lair start, or you could just start killing overlords on the map. So you can see there's some overlords in these positions that might see if you're trying to move out with some zealots or trying to do something sneaky. But if you can force them away, have the Zerg play in the dark, they can't react with a bunch of static defense immediately. But we are seeing just upgrades on the way. Zealot Leg's about to finish. That +1/+1 from these forges, as I said, also on the way. Temple Archive's going for Storm, so I wonder if this is going to be like Zealot Storm, just like this ultimate anti-Hydra kind of army.
Just total commitment to the ground forces, yeah. No goons in sight.
This is what I thought was going to happen, though, from our Zerg. Finished his lair, immediately started that Lurker upgrade. The way Jesse's playing, there's not going to be any detection in sight, so this could end in tragedy, but Storm's still able to hit the Lurkers, so you don't have to be able to see them to know where they're at. But you got to be careful to not take a fight where it has a few too many Lurkers or when they're a little bit too spaced out. So I'm curious how this is actually going to go. But Jesse's actually getting the robo, transitioned everything well. I wonder if this attack's going to move out, or if this was just, I'm going to move into this army because I'm comfortable with it, which is just so weird to start the Stargate and then cancel it. It's so weird.
Yeah. I mean, in a straight-up fight here between these Zealots and these Hydras, these Hydras are going to lose, especially with Storm about to kick in.
100%.
But I would love to see Names. He's got plenty of gas. He's got a good gas bank. Just dump 10 Lurkers right now. Play defensively. Just get out of there. I like that move.
You see a lot of Zealots. They got the upgrades. The +1/+1. They got the speed to try to force the Zerg to go back. You can see a couple units staying behind. It does slow things down a little bit. Jesse, or Naves, being able to survive with a decent amount of units, but Jesse's still pushing forward. Here's a couple Lurks on the way. 5 being morphed, but they're being morphed right in the face, and they know that they're there. They know that they're coming. Curious to see, is Jesse going to keep trying to force this attack to happen? Before these legs pop, you can try to go into it. So many Zealots here, though, doing big damage, and actually moving up into the third, committing into it. Oh no, these Templar, though, getting called out. A decent Storm here, but they're so far behind the army. Actually, much better Storm the second time around. A lot of Hydras down, but with no detection on the way, these Lurkers should be enough to do the job. The Zealots are trying to take out this base before they get cleaned up.
Nice block from Jess. She really just eviscerated that third base. Unfortunately, though, those Zealots are stuck there. She's going to take heavy damage if she decides to get out of here, especially with those Lurkers at the bottom. But just on a significant side note, Names has done a phenomenal job droning off of that rough early game for him. He's really bounced back economically. He's banking up a lot of stuff. He could be spending that, but really, he's rolling on 4 hatches, and he's looking pretty good. Just got to take a third. He could take a fourth if he wanted to. Really match the Protoss' bases, but he's looking good right now.
The Protoss actually taking a third base here. Names just losing the third, didn't have a forge set up. And you can see there's some lings and stuff along the way. Finally, the drone moves down to the bottom right. But I saw a giant round of Hydras in production, looking like finally gonna upgrades finished. Gonna see if they can stop this third. There's not a lot of units here, but there is still Storm. Need to be careful here. Still haven't seen the observers on the way. I think our robotics is finished, so is the observatory, but I don't know if I've actually seen any observers.
Nice. Yeah, no, I haven't. We got an observer being built right now. Okay, good. Recognizing the threat of those Lurkers, because, for some reason, I'm not sure why, but Lurkers are really tough to deal with if you don't have detection. Beautiful job throwing down that third base from Names, retaking it, and throwing down a simultaneous fourth. I love this move. This is such a good decision. I am such a fan right now. Excellent. Just double expand. You already lost one. Double down on it. Take your fourth. You just deny the process third. Looking good. Little soft Lurker contain going on here. I'm liking it.
Yeah, it seems like a good spot to be in right now, but I did see a shuttle made somewhere. Where did that end up going? Did that move out of the base, or is it still hanging out?
Bottom, way bottom, way bottom.
Way bottom. There we go. Moving across. I got a couple high tempo already. If you want to do a lot of damage almost instantly, that's definitely the move to do it. But there's still a lot of lurkers, like you said. A couple up front doing that very soft contain. But if you look back here, lots of hiders, and then there's a giant pack of lurkers behind. Not even birds. I think like once the fight starts, being able to move in. Jesse actually doing a good job navigating around with this shuttle, avoiding some of these overlords. Finally getting spotted out here. We'll see, like, you can see a bunch of drones getting transferred here. Lane's already at the bottom, so it's going to be hard to actually do this. But is this going to be enough? Is the storm still going to be able to go down? A little bit.
She's going to get it. Oh, man. Oh, beautiful.
Great. Fantastic storm. Doing big damage there.
Phenomenal.
I mean, Name still has the 4 bases now established. Drones sent down to the bottom right. Nothing's up at the 12 o'clock, but you'll be able to replenish that easy enough. There's still a good amount of lurkers and hydras out the front here. Jesse trying to move out. Decent army here. There's some detection. There's a little bit of range here too, but these lurkers are in a very annoying spot, doing some pretty big damage. First storm not hitting anything too dramatically. There's just not a lot of hydras here. This is all lurkers, but still enough where Jesse doesn't feel like they want to keep pushing forward. But, I mean, still, healthy worker count, healthy army supply, the tech's there, so I'm curious, like, is the plan going to be to try to actually break out of this and, like, get some damage just to get a third base established?
Yeah, I mean, you know, third base at this point in the game, it's really got to be on a Protoss's mind, especially if they haven't had it already. You know, this is like, get out of the contain, take your third, and ensure that you can take the match even longer, because she's very quickly running out of minerals. And Names, you know, takes massive damage on that storm drop, just absolutely got his units eviscerated in that worker line, and he's already back to 44 drones again, and he's up 2 bases. So he's really looking good. As long as he can keep up on his upgrades, which what he's been doing, keep this lurker contained strong, he's in a great position right now. He's just got to hold it.
Oh, the observer up at the front got sniped off by the hydras and an overlord a little bit further back. So I think that was the one observer at the front. Jesse needs to recognize that died. I know there is one in the army. It's hidden there, but you got to be careful not to lose these to hydras. Like, I love making a bunch of them just so you have that backup, because they die so quickly if they get spotted. There's a lot of army production happening from Jesse, though. You can see a lot of gateways back in the main. Big production on the army here. But like you were saying, the mineral fields winding down. Jesse needs to get out here, either do some damage to one of these bases or establish third of their own. Looking like they're going to go for a big fight here. I'm not sure if this is actually enough to slow this down too significantly. Not a lot of lurkers here. The hydras alone won't be enough to do the job.
No, this is a lot of dragoons. This is very, very tough. Names are going to have to pull back and really regroup. I mean, she just smashed that, and now she's free to take a third, and she's I want to see her contest map control and really start to exert her presence out here. Nicely done.
Well, big move with this army. It's not just moving out to contain, set up that third base. It's moving across, threatening to actually do some damage. Now you see with a lot of the army going down here, looking back at, like, if let's say it's the natural that goes for, there's only one sunken here. There's not SimCity to slow things down, and this is a lot of dragoons. So even if there was lurkers, that's not going to be the big thing here. And you see, like, once L going to 12, there's going to be a little bit of opportunities for harassment, but there's just not a lot of army here for Names. Hive got finished, Spire's on the way, but no use of either tech just yet. So this is, or not the Hive, just the Queen's Nest, I think. Yeah, still on Lair tech.
Spire's coming up. Yeah, I mean, what a nice position grab from Jess. Really well done. It's always a good skill to be able to, as a Protoss player, break out, take your third, which is what she's doing right now, and start to put great pressure on the Zerg player. Just waltzing into the natural like she owns the place. Nice.
Doing big damage here, and even like still keeping Names honest. I keep seeing like one Zealot get thrown at the 12. Make sure there's at least a couple units here. Storm Archon's being made because Templar ran out of energy for Storm. It's still a pretty intimidating army, especially considering with 2-1 upgrades. Like, they're gonna mow through these Zerglings without too much issue. And you can see Names like just can't establish anything, just rallying little groups of armies that keep getting killed. But here comes a big wave of reinforcement Zealots for Jess. This might be enough to lock up the game.
Oh yeah, I think that might be it. You know, Names looks really good. Looked really good in the long term, right? Awesome upgrades, even better than the Protoss. Good number of bases, good saturation, good number of drones, and unfortunately just didn't have enough units to back it up.
Well, it was like you're saying, like the contain from the lurkers looked so good early on, and then once that dropped, you like lose that big army up the front. It's like, you got all these bases, but they're spread out. It's hard to defend them all. You got to make your decision about what you're actually going to be able to defend and what not. And you can see he kept trying to take these short-term fights, and unfortunately, just losing too much army, couldn't hold on. But looked good in the beginning, but just showing like that experience, that macro power.
Yeah, and that's along those lines. Like the Protoss player is always very dangerous, even on two bases. They're very, very dangerous. As a Zerg player, it's really easy to kind of lull yourself into a false sense of security with that soft lurker contain, and you're kind of like, oh, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm going to take two bases. This is the CoZ special, by the way. You overexpand behind your soft lurker contain, and then you get smashed. So I've been in that position before. I know exactly what that's like. Oh. Here we go.
Well, we'll get more. I'll probe you some questions about that. But in the top right, names coming back this time in the pale yellow Zerg, and in the bottom left, it's TL Flash for the win. Clearly, just a fan of a certain player. I don't know if I agree with that one. Flash is the worst. I hate him.
Yeah, he's like a round of 16 finisher at best, I'd say, in most tournaments.
Yeah, he doesn't know what race he's playing. This guy's a clown. But like to go back to the point you were saying, like I remember like during the game you were commentating, you're like, I love this play. I love like double expand. Yeah. Let's do it. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the CoZ special. This is how I lose all my games. It's like, oh, of course this is how you love it.
Of course I love it. It's exactly what happens to me. I'll support any Zerg player, even if they're losing. Always.
Like that'd be like when Jesse tried to first go out and lost the stuff, the lurker would be like, yeah, I love that play. This is exactly what I do too.
Yeah, I can play both sides of the coin,
No matter what happens, it's good stuff for me. Now, the real question I'm wondering is Flash a dirty mech player or an honorable bio player?
That's really that's most of my emotional investment in this match here.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's a dirty mech player, because like 111's honorable. That's cool. It's exciting. It's got
That's true.
stuff.
That's hard to pull off. You're right.
It's the dirty Goliath player is what you mean.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I'll agree with that. Just hang out in your base, then move out with like 15 of them. It's so strong.
Maybe this is just the bitterness flowing through my microphone right now.
Well, I mean, this is how Brood War works, isn't it? Is your race is weak, and this strategy is too strong, and it's ridiculous. And like, there's you get for every race you can say it from whatever. It's like I could just complain like, oh, 3-hatch Hydra going to lurkers. This is bullshit. Like, it's not. Right. I'm just bad.
Yeah, you're right. That's ultimately what it comes down to. She's like, oh no, actually, I'm not very good. So that's the biggest problem here. Pretty standard stuff out of both these players.
Yeah, nice. I think it was actually an 11 hatch from names though, because like
Ooh.
I saw it was a hatch, then the pool, then the gas, and it went down to 9 supply. So I think that was actually an 11 hatch, which is a little unusual.
Interesting. He's had kind of a funky.
He's had some funky decision making that's really led him back to a very standard play. Like early in that last match, there was a bunch of things where I was like, oh, I'm not sure what this guy's doing, not taking any gas. And then suddenly there was a gas explosion. He took 4 bases, and it was like, oh, we're back in the game again. So who knows what this guy's doing? Yeah. Seems to be working though, right?
Well, I mean, according to last game, I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, it's like everyone has their own personal styles. Like, it's one of those things that you'll hear, especially if you watch like the Day 9 series. Just it like the beginning build not as important sometimes, but it's like the mid game's gonna look a certain way. The path you get there might be a little different, but as long as like you're getting like the core stuff, and you can see Flash staying in long enough, sees the lair on the way, so it should be known as a 2-hatch kind of play, which usually that means muta. Like 2-hatch lurker seems bold. We'll say bold.
Yeah, seems bold. Seems pretty honorable.
No, that's not honorable. That's definitely not honorable. Meanwhile, Flash just going for that normal, getting that fast CC, adding on the gas, 2 barracks here, expecting Academy, eBay, like all the usual bio stuff you're used to seeing. It's just gonna be what they do afterwards. They add on a bunch more like barracks early, or they're gonna be rushing science vessels. Like what the choice is gonna be from there, but I think it's just going to be a very normal-looking bio game when you play against 2-hatch muta. I'm not expecting anything too different.
Yeah, certainly. Names is looking pretty standard, too. He's droning up his natural, you know, skimping on as many Zerglings as he can. Looking good, looking good.
And there's
our Spire's about to start.
Yeah, I was gonna say the lair with the lair finishing, no hydrogen on the way. Yeah, definitely gonna be a Spire because there's no way. Oh my God, for the love of God, no. Oh, okay. I forgot to go D&D. My bad. It's okay. So Academy about to be completed. All right, hold on. I need a second to regroup. We're good. We're good.
All right. Take as much time as you need. All right. All right. I love this matchup. It's so good.
It's really good. Yeah.
Now, interesting question. Are we going to see Flash move out here and do a pre-Spire push here? Are we going to see sort of a sunken? It looks like that's what he's thinking here. And I like this move. This is always good. You know, force the Sunkens, make the Zerg react to some degree, take a couple drones away. It's a win-win for the Terran player. Nice. Look at that.
He's making a good decision.
It doesn't
Didn't go back and did a bio push before Spire. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you could just forcing these to happen is all you really need. Like, it doesn't. You don't have to do any damage. Just moving out here, there's no risk. It's like there's not like a lot of links on the map. It's nothing that's gonna catch you off guard. So you can see like still pushing across, trying to keep it honorable, not just like, oh, you get to make the creeps and I'm forcing Sunkens, like you're gonna spend the money. Losing a couple of these links, it's not a big force. I don't think it's actually be enough to break anything. But if they want to,
is he gonna go in though?
I wouldn't go into the natural here. Sunkens are completed now. You don't have enough force just yet. The upgrades, the stim is done, but you can see like there's no +1 weapons yet. And with mutas on the way, you definitely don't want to be caught on the map and lose this army because that could just snowball out of control.
Yeah, he's got to get back. He's got to get back to the turrets.
Well,
and I'm surprised.
You say turrets. What turrets?
I was just gonna say, yeah. Like I was busy looking at his bioforce. Yeah, turrets, man. Here we go. Get him up. Get him up.
Man, these mutas not immediately moving across the map though. Is buying some time for these turrets to get done. You can see scans going down. So Flash checking out what's at the natural. Sees another hatchery on the way. Sees the Hydra Den as well. So seeing all that important information, but you can see like there's not a lot of turrets at this natural. There's no one turret covering the production. Like there's not a whole lot here. Now Name's not leaning more into the mutas, just doing enough, so it's like you gotta respect it. I'm gonna make you make the fence, but not leaning in too much harder. And as I say that, more mutas in production.
Yeah, no, I was actually just gonna say that. Thank God you took the fall on that one. I thought it was interesting. He immediately takes his third, right, and throws down a fourth macro hatch. I think that's a really good move. Gets just enough mutas to really start to do some damage, and
threaten some damage.
And then now he's gonna lean pretty hard into the lurkers as soon as he wants to. But this Bioforce is making some bold moves. I like it. Only 2 medics though, which just don't lose them. That's the big thing. Just don't lose them to mutas.
Yeah, now this is a little bit worrying. There's not a lot of ground units here, but more Sunkens on the way. They will be completed before these Marines get there. And we see Flash scan around, seeing what's there, knows not to look, just gonna turn, not even attempt it, and go straight for that third. And there's no defense here. This is a great move from Flash. I think this is gonna be able to do some damage, shut down this base, get a couple drone kills as well.
Yeah, this is free real estate right here. He's just got to get up the ramp. Nice. There we go. Nice hiding those drones in the corner. And oh my God, he's gonna lose all these mutas. Oh. Okay.
Well, the mutas turn around. They're gonna try to slow us down. Flash not losing focus here, making sure to attack the hatchery, but not just have a free kill on all of his Marines. Mutas being very bold, trying to poke in more, try to get more damage done. But you see some of them very bruised, a couple getting killed. A couple of the drones did hide up at the top of the 12, didn't get killed, so just gonna be able to remake the hatchery almost immediately. But
oh, nice move by Flash, leaving that Marine though. Unless I'm wrong. All right, he's leaving town.
No, I think that's just the AI being silly. Now what we're seeing back at home for Flash, he's been getting SCVs very well. Actually going into a factory, getting the machine shop in siege mode, so it's not going to be just that pure bio and science, but we're going to add on a couple tanks too, help go through these Sunkens that are up at the front. You see the mutas trying to find an opportunity. You need to be very careful though. There's so many brews, and 3 explode almost immediately. That's what I'm talking about, how bruised they actually were. All these bio upgrades hit that like first critical level, that +1, the range is done, stem is done. So Nave's got to be careful not to lose too much here. You can see like catching a bunch of free damage here. Flash doing a great job getting into this mid game with a good advantage.
Yeah, he's looks like he's also going to be going for a pre-hive timing, which is always good. Another solid move. So I'm going to be interested to see how that one works out. There's really not as many lurkers as I'd like to see out of names, and he's got 4 hatches right here, 2 macro hatches in his main. So really good stuff, but Zerglings do not do very well on their own in this matchup. They really need that backup. So I'm glad to see these 5 lurkers, but I want to see him take 2 or 3, establish his third base, get that third gas going, get himself up to hive tech so he can actually exert himself on the map and deal with these tanks and this possible drop that's coming in.
Well, stuff getting loaded to that dropship. That's why earlier I was like looking around Flash's base. What's he making? I saw dropship. Ooh. Like that's a move I love because when you know it's a lot of lurker having to break one of the sunkens because it's starting to clog in some of the production. A lot of Ling lurker here, not a lot of mutas. You see Flash moving across the map with a pretty strong force. You got to be careful. Haz gets engaged. And I like that Flash checked the other bases manually by moving units. Didn't waste scans, so he does have them for the lurkers. He did not just throw them away for free. Maneuvering pretty good here. Here comes a drop in the main. So on 2 fronts, and I think Names might just be caught off guard as long as Flash drops soon.
Yeah. Nice move forward on that lurker. Oh, beautiful pick off on the tank. He knows exactly what he's doing here. Take out the units that can siege and then destroy the rest of the Marines. Oh my god, look at all that. Oh, the damage.
Oh, but Names started taking critical damage from that drop at the same time. So big win on that front, but taps out as it happens because you can just see like Flash's position there was pretty good. He's going to get that pressure back in the third. So
nicely done. Nicely done.
Definitely. Very good done. Flash looking strong there. I can see why he was excited to be here and watch these games getting cast.
Yeah, no better feeling than watching you beat someone and then having people talk about you watching you beat someone.
Honestly, only thing I want is when you play a game and it's like, oh man, this game was so close. This game, I was like 30 minutes of macro. I was having a great time. It's just gonna be entertaining. And then just like, they're just drones. Like, look at this DT drop. It killed 20 probes. And then you're like, I didn't know. I never knew.
It doesn't attack if it's an auto swipe from a DT. Like,
I had one like that. I had like a giant 35-minute game, and I had a DT that killed like 40 of my workers, and I never found out.
That's when you're like you reach a certain point and you're like, dude, I have no money. What's going on here? I have 6 bases. And then you look at them all and you're like, I've only got 15 drones. That's why.
Well, in the top right, TL Flash for the win. Taking up the brown, taking up a different position. He's still playing Terran though. In the bottom left, Snail 6, yellow Protoss. This is the fun matchup for me. I love seeing this one. So we will we'll see how this one goes. Now we gotta know, is TL Flash, is he a dirty 2-fac player? Is he honorable macro or dirty 2-fac?
So he's been good so far. It's a 50-50 shot. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I've never seen him play before, but I think he's a 2-fac guy. Just based on the micro I saw in his TVZ, I think he's a 2-fac kind of guy.
It might be. Like, I don't know. It's just so hard to tell until you see what's happening. Now, I hope actually I like seeing stuff like 2-fac on maps like this. Like the distance is pretty long if you're playing and you can kind of sniff it out. It shouldn't be too hard to defend it. There's plenty of these high ground areas that you can get position on, slow things down. It's just about actually seeing it and knowing what's going to happen, not just like, oops, it's at my door, and then, oh no.
Yeah, as the Protoss player, you have so much terrain to work with the high ground, as you said. Like that helps so much with dealing with the 2-fac, so much.
okay, pretty standard stuff though.
Be interested to see if Snail is as consistent as he is with his PvP.
As he is with his.
Now, see, this is where I wish we had a Terran player here, because I do not know the exact timing between barracks and gas, but it felt like that gas was a little quick. I don't know. They were started at the same time, right? Like, isn't that?
Yeah,
it's a little quick.
Yeah, there's some. I think there's some shenanigans. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it early, and I'm gonna call it bold.
Where's Napline with some rhyme about gas on? I don't know. I'm not even gonna guess at it. He's got one for sure. I'm gonna anger him. He's gonna appear. It's like one of those Bloody Mary things. Do I speak his name?
Mary. Yeah, that was an early gasp. That's what it feels like.
We'll see what
We shall find out.
Yeah, workers moving across the map, both of them going to be able to scout, and you can see there's a factory going down, but Flash taking guys out of the gas, so that usually does indicate that it's going to be the one factory only setting up for a fast expansion. So I'm curious if that's actually going to be the move, or if there's going to be some shenanigans. We're seeing it from Snail, though. Like, he's got the core, he's got one gate, hasn't on a second going gate yet. He could still be going for 10-21, again, that second gateway, but most players tend to just go one gateway, get a robo, or like get an expansion, get some servers. Like, they don't go for that big Dragoon pressure like I do, because they're not stuck back in time.
You pray at the temple of the bulldog. Is that what it is?
No, I just like two gate goon pressure. Like, that's my style. It's the fun.
Okay.
Like that. That's basically, if you play me and you play Terran, I promise you, I'm probably doing 10-15. I'm probably doing 10-15 2 gates. Well, it doesn't matter to you. You don't play Terran.
I used to. For many years, I played Terran, actually. Many years.
And then I was like, you know what? This matchup sucks, and I'm terrible at it, so I'm done with this.
We're not seeing any weird shenanigans just yet. Going for a fast machine shop instead of a vulture, so looking like maybe some kind of FD. Tank on the way immediately. We've got to see what is that first upgrade, though. And you see the Dragoon moving across the map, kills that SU before it gets back. Marines be able to deflect. Unfortunately, the Dragoon didn't stay alive long enough, didn't get to move forward, and like just confirm like there's no low ground CC started, like there's no vulture anywhere. I think you could have gotten a little bit more information from there. But Snail still just on one gateway and starting a Nexus, so I think just trying to play that safe kind of macro game, and we're gonna see what is Flash gonna do about that.
Yeah, this is a comfortable number of Marines for sure. He's building a lot of meat shields right now, and with this one tank doing damage, with the second one on the way, yeah, I think we're gonna see some pressure here.
Yeah, I think this is just kind of that like strong FD kind of push where you wait for that second tank and you got a bunch of the boys and you just walk across the map, and this is one of those things that we've seen so many times in the preseason. OS doesn't slow down enough by cutting with Dragoons, or they lose a couple Dragoons for free to like just a couple tank shots of the Marines. They overstay just a little tiny bit, and then the game snowballs out of control because you can't afford to lose these early units. But here comes Flash. Got a tank, got some Marines. Dragoons are on the high ground. Good spot to actually slow things down. Snail actually pulling things back, not taking too much damage. Right now it's just shields pretty much. Although the one Dragoon getting pretty low, gotta be worried. Second tank's moving across. And you can look back at home. There's a second gateway on the way. Snail's gotta make sure the macro stays up. One Dragoon being lost. This attack's moving across the way. Not doing a lot of big damage. I think Snail's in trouble.
Yeah, this isn't looking too good for him. And this is that rough. Just like this is one of those opers that's very reliable for the Terran player and can do a lot of damage unless you control very well. And Snail, to his credit, did somewhat well. He took advantage of that high ground, but this is very strong. This is a lot of units and two strong tanks. So.
Yeah, and actually we're seeing from Flash real commitment to putting pressure on. Usually this kind of thing. See the mines being laid down here. Siege mode's being researched as well. And these tanks are doing a good job not moving too far forward. They're always going to be able to retreat, so it's going to be hard to get down ramp and actually start them. Just this Nexus taking a bunch of free damage. I think this is going down without even a way to really contest it, because from Snail, there's just not a lot of stuff here to actually do it. You can see he's actually just adding on gateways. Not even like a real tech choice here. He's finally getting an observatory on the way, but like there's no robotic support bay, no Reavers on the way. They're actually starting to make Bunker really set up this contain for real.
Yeah, Flash has bought real estate down here, and he's planning on living here for a while with the bunker, and probably see some turrets go up here once this engineering bay is done. But this is a decent number of Dragoons, and I think if we see a shuttle coming, okay, what should we do now? I think that could really bring Snail back into the game if he does well with it.
Well, it's going to be all about where this shuttle's going to go. Is this for some kind of counter pressure back in the Terran main, try to bait the army into going back to defend it? Or just drop some zealots on these tanks and see if that's going to be enough. And you can even see, like there's this bunker here, Flash being very careful, inching up very slowly, so very diligent, actually trying to use these Marines to get up there, see what's here. See just some Dragoons, nothing too crazy, but sees those gateways at the front, so should know that that is a bunch of gateways being added on, so it can't be too much tech if you're investing that much in the gateways.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, the shuttle's out here. And this is where, nice choice on the Zealots. If he can get a nice Zealot bomb here, drag a couple mines in, I think he's got a good shot at taking this out. He's just got to be really, really careful about it.
Like the SUV got killed at the front, so no turret's gonna be able to go down just yet. And those tanks are dangerously close to mines and dangerously close to each other. So I think this shuttle could actually try to get some decent damage done. The problem will be though, if you're trying to do stuff like that, it's like does the shuttle die to that bunker trying to get close enough to the tanks? So they're very close to it as well.
I think if he came from the north down and dropped in a vertical line, he'd be in really good shape. He'd be able to mine drag at least 3 of those mines, 2 or 3. But with these slow Zealots, he could just walk a couple down the ramp. I mean, he's got enough units, I think, to take this. But he's just got to be very careful about where he chooses to engage and when. Oh, underpowered gateways.
Well, now, yeah, that pylon going down, so you got 2 gateways that can't produce, and the turret getting completed by the bunker. So again, to reposition just a little bit more, you can see like even like a depot going down here. Just a lot of things to clog this up, make this difficult for the Terran player. Second shuttle being is done as well. 8 Zealots here. So I wonder, is this even a drop, or is this maybe going to be like an elevator kind of move? You see one going way out of the way. There's a vulture here, immediately spots it. Unfortunate timing.
Beautiful, beautiful, perfect timing. Completely accidental. Nicely done.
Interesting. I would have thought he was going to bust this, but it looks like he's just decided to Zealot bomb his main.
Yeah, I don't mind taking 2 shuttles and trying to like go across, like see if you can like bait them into coming back. But you can see like down here, Flash has not reinforced this. All the army he has made is still back at home, and look, he's even clogging up the ramp. He has stuff on the high ground. It's gonna be hard to actually find opportunity, but it's like these don't have like legs. They don't have Dragoons in there. It's just Zealots, and you're gonna be dropping it to tanks and vultures. Like, I do not see this going well. And you see the army's actually seeing it. One shuttle goes down already. A bunch of Zealots get dropped, but they get immediately cleaned up. The other shuttle unloads, doesn't get killed, but there's just nothing here. And you can see this drop really not doing anything. Snail in a really bad spot, trying to force his way down the ramp now, and that just isn't going to work either. Need to save the Zealots for that.
Man, rough, very rough. Everybody knows that feeling.
That's one of those things. If you don't play against it a lot, it's super hard to know how to deal with it. To the point where it's like, I'm not going to give advice on how to stop it because I don't know, man. I usually die to that crap too. I usually try Reavers. Reavers and like observers will help you kind of at least get the contain to back off. But you still, it slows down your game plan so much. It's just, that is brutal when you see that kind of stuff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, good game from Flash. Nice.
Yeah, this guy's a bully.
What'd you say?
Flash is a bully. Are you seeing this? Like, he's just like, nah, this is my expansion. he's just chilling.
I've decided to hang out here now. Let's see if we can find somebody that's going to give him a run for his money.
We'll see. It won't be in this game, though. We're going back to the Protoss vs. Protoss, dipping back into the pool of fun that is.
Pool of fun.
Flash going to have to hang around for a while to see the other games get cast.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. Might be a while.
I mean, I do order things a little bit, but I'm not sure where I put things. I just make sure that it's not one person gets cast all at once. Speaking of people getting casted, in the top right, in the like gray, man, that color looks fuggles. That's bad. I don't like that. It's Ash Jesse, and the bottom left, it's IRK Stanel. So we get another Protoss vs. Protoss, and I'm curious because we saw the way Jesse played before. Is like when we were playing ZVP, is a little less traditional of an opening. You saw that like. There was that game where like Snail got in a great position, but then just kind of threw it away. So Snail like clearly shown they could, like they have fortitude to stay in the game and know how to take advantage. And Jesse's not as experienced in this matchup or not warmed on it. I'm curious like if there's going to be an opportunity like what we saw from Snail.
Yeah. Stanel, is a tried and true Protoss player, so I think that he's going to have a slight edge in this matchup. And also, props to choosing red again. Always a good color. Always a good color. So I'm going to be really interested to see, especially what he chooses for his opener. Very, very interested.
Yeah. Even just like little tiny things that it's not going to be crazy. Like, you don't do crazy optimizations or anything. It's just like we saw like from Snail, the build was just not very crisp. Like the cybernetics core got delayed so much. It was these zealot pressure, but even like stuff like that, it got out of order. It wasn't really the way you'd want to see that kind of build. Stanel though, like went for that kind of like it's a classic safe kind of opening to get you that early expansion, get into the mid game, like take it into a real game instead of just a one base versus one base like slugfest. So I'm curious that's what he need to plan again, and I wouldn't be surprised because I think that's the kind of opening you can kind of do one gate robo versus everything. Like you don't like you'll die to things, but you should be able to scout them out, especially on a 2-player map.
One thing I find so fascinating about these preseason games is a lot of times you see players who come to play for CPL and they might not play regularly outside of CPL. So they come in, and in the mid game a lot of times is when they start to hit their stride and they start to really get into the habit of playing, and the everything starts to come together. That's what I'm saying. And a lot of times the early games can be a little rough in terms of not having super optimized builds, but then you see them get into the mid game and they're a lot more comfortable, and that's when things start to move a lot more smoothly.
I feel like you're personally attacking me right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's like exactly my life. Like it's like CPL. Like I'm not a big ladder monster. I do much more casting than playing, so I feel like I'm being attacked, right?
No, not at all. And that's it's cool to see because what you're seeing is like people remembering what's going on in the game, and you're seeing like those general patterns. So earlier we had talked about getting into that, like, well, it doesn't really matter what your early game is, like this is what the mid game looks like. Like we're seeing a lot of that, like, oh, the early game, like they're doing some funky stuff, like, wow, names, like I don't really know what he's doing with taking his gas so late, but like, oh, we're back at a normal, regular, consistent standard mid game. So it's like it's very interesting to see. And right now we're seeing two players that play a lot, and they play in BWCL regularly. Like these are consistent players, and that's why you're seeing across the board their timings are crisp for everything, and they're very, very well lined up on all their builds.
Yeah, I'm actually a little intrigued here. You see like that Jesse gonna just lose the scouting probe, try to stay in a little bit longer, get that information. Stan will pull this away, but for a long time both players had full vision of each other, knowing they're doing exactly the same thing. And when you're in a mirror matchup and you're doing very similar builds, usually the person willing to be defensive, be a little bit greedier, take that nexus a little bit sooner, that's the person that get the advantage, because with all this distance to go across the map, even like looking like right now, look at these robo timings for both players, super consistent. But if you go across the map and try to attack, they're gonna have another round of production before you get there. Your attack's not gonna be doing anything. So I think the choice is just clear to stay at home and just try to be defensive. Or someone can slam down a bunch of gateways right now, just go for a giant bust on whatever Nexus happens.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think you're seeing with Stano, like he plays Protoss a little more consistently, and you're seeing that all of his timings are either the same as Jess or slightly ahead. He just seems to be a tiny bit crisper. So I'm going to be very interested to see, especially as we roll into the mid game and we start to see higher techs, such as say Reavers or Observers or DTs, what exactly Stenel's going to choose versus Jess.
Yeah, trying to see. There we go. Finally, a deviation between the two players. Observatory. Never mind. I don't think it is actually going to be deviation. We got an observatory and a support bay going down for Standal. For Jess, it's actually just the. It's a gateway and a support bay, so a lot more force behind it. An observatory a little bit later, but with both players like playing how they were, a little like. I think both of them just wrote off DT's option, not rushing for that detection, because if there was a DT rush happening, these observers would be too late.
Yeah, Jess has really skipped on Dragoons a little bit. Seems like she's... Oh, no, I'm totally mistaken. I didn't see that one in the back. But she opted for a gateway rather than... she opted for an extra gateway and a Reaver. Whereas Daniel still... He's got this second gateway coming up, but it looks like he's going to be choosing... Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Now his Reaver's coming up. Okay.
They're doing very similar kind of things, just a little bit, the ordering's a little different. Like Jess got the gateway a little bit sooner, and got Reaver a little bit sooner. Sam got the Observer a little faster, get an idea. But this is the big thing that is different between two players. The Nexus going down for Stanel, nothing yet for Jess. She's positioned her Dragoons in a way that either defend the Nexus or at least hide the information that you don't know if there is one. But considering that Reavers are being made without a shovel, I'm expecting expansion from Jess soon as well. And you can see the probe going down now, so just very slightly behind, no big deal.
Yeah, this is impressively consistent for both players. Nash is a little bit ahead in terms of supply, but a little bit behind in workers.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that you can look at, and this is why, like, if you're in the regular season, trust me, your coaches are going to tell you you just need to practice this build in single player, not in games. Just work on the build, work on executing it. Because you can see here that these builds are very, very similar, but look at the difference you see already. That Stanel up a decent amount of workers when there's no intention to attack, no trying to force the issue or anything, but still has a relevant amount of units. And like even having the observer at home being very diligent not to leave any kind of openings, just taking the assumption that they are ahead in the economic game and leaning into it, which that's true. That's what they have right now. That's the big advantage they got.
Yeah, Snell's been very consistent with his economy, and I think especially as time goes on, we're going to see that economy kick in more and more because Jess opted for a few more units rather than workers.
Yeah, unfortunately, just not having that scouting knowledge, didn't really see it. Like, I thought that next was going to go down a long time ago. Probe went down when Stanels was maybe like a third of the way done, just only starting it now after Stanels completed. So instead of a small advantage, which is what I was expecting, this is actually quite the large advantage. Now we see even from Jess, though, like, we got a bunch of Dragoons, good army, and we got a shuttle with some Reavers moving across. Stanel's got plenty of army here, positioned in a way to deflect the drop. So I'm curious to see if the Jess is going to get caught by that, and, like, lose that shuttle with the Reavers. That'd be tragic. But if there's an attack just at the front, you can see there's Dragoons in the main non-position. The stuff by the middle line, that's going to get hard to actually move it in position. These two Reavers will be free killed. You can see Jess moving to the front, not going for harassment. Pro moving out just in time to catch this. See if Stanel can get in position before it's too late.
Oh, beautiful pickup on that Reaver. Nice micro. Very well done. It's going to come out of this for Stanel. Beautiful Reaver shots for both sides. Stanel's looking really good, though. He's just got a few more Dragoons, and he's going in to snipe these Reavers now. Nicely done. Nicely done by both players.
Yeah, that was a very good defense that we saw from Stanel. That you lost some of your units. Jesse lost a good amount as well. I think Jesse actually got the worst end of that. But look at that unit supply gap now with that faster Nexus, 42 to 28. That's a very large worker discrepancy. Like, Jesse went really hard going for that attack, but when the builds are so similar, and like I was saying, like, there's so much time to move across the map, Stanel got that extra round production in. So even though Jesse was a little bit ahead at the time, good defense and be able to take advantage of it. And Stanel, like, playing into that, I guess this is how they want to play this matchup, just being defensive, looking like they're going to take a third base over on the side as well.
Yeah, and you're really seeing. I had mentioned Stanel just being more consistent with those workers and really just like hammering them home every single round. He's hitting them, and that you're starting to see really that advantage start to pile up here. He's able to take a third base. He's still been consistently producing units, and he's looking very, very strong here. He's in a great position.
Yeah, also a little bit ahead on the tech race. Citadel done for Stanel, but we don't see anything moved forward for that. We actually see a Forge as well, which that'll be useful to help defend some of these outer expansions, or just getting your attack upgrades. They're not critical. Like, it's not like getting the attack upgrades from Marines or like Zealots versus Zerglings or anything like that. There's no critical upgrades, but still every bit of damage helps, especially like fighting through shield regeneration. So it's definitely not so bad, but I think Stanel just right now, I feel very comfortable with the spot they're in. They're adding on some the core buildings they need and getting a little bit ahead in the tech race as well.
Yeah, certainly. Very interesting. Jess is gonna move in here for a little more aggressive of a move. I don't know. She's got to be really careful here. I don't think she can take this, especially with these two Reavers now finished. She's got two Reavers of her own, but I don't think she's got enough goons to deal with this. She's gonna have to hit immaculate Scarabs.
I mean, Scarabs are a nightmare to try to land when you're trying to hit workers, but in actual fights they're pretty good. Stanel actually being aggressive while the Reavers for Jess weren't on the ground, going into this big fights, and a lot of good Scarabs are seen from Stanel. One Reaver does go down though on Stanel's side, but look at all his army being killed. All the Reavers going down from Jess, gets away with one in the shuttle, but all these Dragoons getting cleaned up, and Stanel takes another decisive win while establishing that third base on the left side.
Nicely done. He's playing so crisp right now. So crisp. Making really good decisions.
Yeah, I would be very curious to see, like, when you're looking at these kind of games, or like if you're going over them with a coach or a more experienced Pro player, like, Are these attacks really the way to go? Because I mean, it's not like there's a tech advantage, not like there's a storm when Stanel didn't have it or something like this. I feel like this is the kind of thing that maybe you get back into it a little bit more with like a speed shuttle harass, which finally we do actually see that Jesse is researching that speed upgrade for the shuttle. So I think that just might be a little bit more of the way rather than try to just brute force your way through the middle when you have very similar kind of armies, because defender advantage is very real in this matchup.
Yeah, oh, certainly, yeah. And you know, you also need, well, given the amount of information Jess has, like, what's the best decision that she can make from there? And I think a lot of that decision was, and we got actually another big fight right here, but Stanel's looking really strong. He's got a lot of zealots up front to take that damage, and he's got a Reaver in back really pumping it out. So I think he's going to take this one, too, pretty easily.
Yeah, definitely a big win there. This one wasn't even nearly as close. Stanel had a couple zealots. They didn't even have speed finished yet, but that couple zealots managed to actually kind of get in the mix, do some damage before they got killed off by the Reavers. That's a big thing. It's like you can get some zealots eating some damage for you from those Reavers instead of Dragoons just taking them all. That could really snowball these fights. And look at the option for harass, but it's not Jess, it's Stanel actually moving a Reaver up to the top. The next is just finishing. I don't think one Reaver is going to be harassing down next anytime soon, but he has an observer there, knows that it's there. Jesse's army's not on the map, so Stanel wants to just go and kill it and just maintain these marginal edges that he has that accumulate so much over the game. I would love to see that. Speed shuttle about done for Jesse, and Storm's on the way for Stanel, so lots of good tech on the way, but Stanel committing to this fight has a high ground advantage with a Reaver here, so I think he's in a great spot here to actually just force this issue.
Yeah, no, this third base is gone, and just really putting himself into even better position. Stan's playing crisp, as I said earlier. He's making good decisions. He's expanded behind his major engagements that he's won, and just took out a third base, and now he's going into the main to harass while also dealing some damage to this main army up front.
Needs to be a little bit careful here. He's got some decent amount of army here. Oh, but that shuttle moving too far forward. Lose the shuttle, the Reaver gets dropped on the ground. Going to be able to contribute a little bit. Had 8 kills, but did finally get taken down. So finally a little bit of a small victory for Jess to take down that shuttle, take down that Reaver, slow this down. And like I said, that speed upgrade for the shuttle now complete, but Stanel's got a very intimidating ground army. I don't know if you can even afford to move out with a shuttle and a Reaver trying to do damage, because you might just need him back at home to live.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, now that Zealot speed is done, you've got a tremendous amount of Zealots in the front that can tank damage. And although you don't have any Reavers right now from Stan, he doesn't have any shuttles with Reavers in them. Oh, I like this from Jess. She's actually going to go try and harass her with a Zealot and a Dragoon. I like this move. I mean, she could very easily just straight up lose this game because she doesn't have enough units at the front, but I don't think that one Reaver would make that much of a difference anyway, so I think might as well take a risk, you know?
I mean, the Reavers do help out, especially as your opponent adds on more Zealots. The Reavers are very good against Zealots like that. I know there's a lot of them. So if there's just a couple, not really, but you can see that speed shell moving in. The cann's not enough to actually slow this down. Big Scarab goes down as natural, takes some big damage, and finally Jesse now having a worker lead. So that had to have done like probably 6, 7, maybe 8 kills. Big group up going here, trying to slow this down. Can you get another shut off? Will they get dudded? Workers retreating, just the worst thing that happens to Pro House players. Not quite enough, and you actually see this shuttle moving up. Gonna try the third base as well, I think. If it keeps moving up. There's plenty of cans here, but I think Stanel's had enough of this crap. Reinforced his army enough. Has a 40 supply lead, looking like they're going to set up for an attack at the front.
So nice. Beautiful shots from the Reaver. 17 kills. Well done.
17, that's ridiculous. Stanel losing a lot of workers, but I don't think he cares that much. Fourth base on the way. Look at his attack at the front. If you go back, like, Jess doesn't have Reavers here, doesn't have Storm. There's no splash damage, and there's like twice the army here for Stanel. So Jesse's harass did big damage, but I don't know if this is actually going to be enough, because this is going to be very dicey. That Reaver on the high ground might be able to do a lot of damage, but I don't know. I think this is getting cleaned up very quickly.
Yeah, this is a ton of units. I mean, even Stan can afford to just throw stuff away at this point, and he can just continue to stream units in. He's got such a numbers advantage. All these Zealots, all these Dragoons, and he's just continually reinforcing this whole time. He's got Storm coming up and an Archon. He's looking really good. I think this might be the end here pretty soon.
I mean, well, just remember, like, you say like can throw away units. He doesn't has a base lead, has a good macro setup, but you don't want to just throw away units. Like this is the kind of situation that be comfortable taking that Nexus if you have to. But Jesse realizing the game's lost and taps out. Stan will play very good on that matchup.
Yeah, nicely done. Very crisp. Very good decision making. I've said that 3 times.
you say crisp so much. That's like your go-to word about how to describe
it
someone.
He's so consistent. I've played him. He plays regularly. He's a good player. He's in my clan, so he crushes me half the time. So I'm having flashbacks. That's what this is. You're feeling the trauma.
We all have people we play like that.
CPL crisp. This chat's roasting me right now. It's great.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's good.
That's okay though. That's what we're here for. We're here to have a good time. And speaking of at the top right, we got really guys, for fuck's sake with the colors. God, it's like I tried Timer's bottom to yellow versus yellow, so we can't do that. It's white versus gray. These monsters.
Oh my god, yellow. Oh my god.
Ash J is in the white Protoss top right. Bottom left, light gray, Snail. God damn it, people. Get it together.
You're gonna most of this game you're gonna have to zoom out just so we can see most of the map, because we're not gonna be able to use the mini map.
Actually, like, at least the white is on the top right side. That said, it does stand out a bit, but it's like in the fight, it's gonna be impossible. It's gonna be so hard to tell what the hell's going on. So these people, come on.
Yeah, if we shift tab, we get yellow. I get 2 yellow players. So
yeah, that is based on the game where you play in. So pro tip: play top versus bottom always, and then it's always gonna be red and blue when we try to fix this. But some monsters just want to watch the world burn, and they want to make our cast difficult. That's fine. At least it isn't like I've done that black versus dark blue. That's actually impossible. That's you can't even tell.
Oh, that one's rough. You can't even read the name on the stream. It's so dark.
Yeah, you figure Blizzard would do something about that? Not quite, but I mean, we
Blizzard? I have no faith in Blizzard.
Whoa, hey, official stance. No, we don't. Like we love
Oh,
Blizzard.
that's true.
We love Blizzard.
Their support and undying love for this community is what I stand by. Reef is over there. I've casted Reef's games 2 weeks in a row now. And if you think that you can get away from me in this regular season, you are sorely mistaken.
Oh, is there drama and beef? Do I need to look out for this?
I will find whatever groups you play in, whatever tier you're in, and I'll cast your games. Every single one of them. I'll sponsor you. I'll be your sponsored caster.
All right, we do not endorse sponsored casting, but that's okay. Like we're not evolving into another Chess Z Samming Fireboys. Like we're not doing this again. Like I will stop. Yeah, we're gonna
from before my time.
Yeah, but we got to talk about the game a little bit because we're seeing the same opening that we saw from Snail. We got this one gateway early, the delayed Cybercore instead, going for a couple more Zealots, and it versus Ash J, who's doing the build we saw last time. I expect to see the exact same thing that we saw from Stanel, exact same thing. Now, if it does end up being the same kind of idea that we saw last game, that is that one gate robo, and then you go into and get your expansion, all that stuff. Remember that Jesse spent a lot less time getting the expansion, delayed it quite a bit. So Snail goes for this kind of like 3-gate play again, tries to break it. I think there's gonna be more units to defend it. I don't know if it'll go quite as well as what we saw last time.
Yeah, Snail. Snail had some moments of really good micro. Actually, I've enjoyed watching his PvP last game. Some really good Dragoon micro. So I hope that he gets in a position where he's got enough Dragoons where that micro can really matter. But he's a little slower on his range, and he seems to just in general.
I can't even tell which probe was the. If it wasn't firing at it, I wouldn't be able to tell. This is obnoxious.
Yeah, really.
We're seeing from Snail, here's 3 gateways. Cybercore's done. Actually getting the gateways online before even starting the Dragoon range, so really wants to put that pressure on. Meanwhile, we're seeing from Jesse, like, there's a robotics that's being made. So I've got a feeling it's going to be very similar kind of things, just that Jesse doesn't expand quite as fast. Might be able to have some Reavers have more units ready to defend. I'm curious to see if this will go the same way as we saw the first time.
Yeah. I would love to see. I mean, that was great harass from Jess last game. Beautiful move on dropping the Zealot first, tanking the cannon fire so she could take out a bunch of probes with her Reaver, and then just casually flying away at the perfect time. I thought it was great. I would love to see some harassment from her earlier, and I hope that I get that. I hope I get that this game.
Yeah, well, what I really just want to see this game is Snail, if they get that big advantage, not to throw it away again. Like we said before, it's just something that happens. It's one of those things that's like you make that misstep, but it's one of those things that hopefully it happens once and you realize your lesson. That it's like PvP, like for me, it's about winning by a little bit. Like if you have a big advantage, like you kill the Nexus, just take a Nexus. You see actually Snail moving out here. Jesse has less goons here. There's a couple Zealots, so actually taking some pretty good shots here. No units going down from either side. You can see though the one Dragoon very bruised down the back. Jesse having the wherewithal to try to kill it,
Nice.
but loses the goon on the way. And Snail moving across the map with 3 gateways of production. Back at home, we see Jesse adapting, adding on more gateways, not trying to take that Nexus. So this is exactly what I was talking about. It's like I think the build was going to be the same, but now that this move out's happening, Jesse's not going to have a Nexus to lose, so it won't be as critical when it happens.
Yeah. And Snail's got, man, he loves that 3-gate to work with. He loves having a lot of units, even if he's got a delayed tech because of it. And that's fine. These early Zealots, I would love to see him do a little more. Last time we saw him move in his Zealots a little early and just kind of had a hard time getting the whole battle together when he was trying to fight against Stan. But I think that, especially with this sort of soft contain we got going on here, I think he's in a little bit better of a position.
Yeah.
But Jess has got a Reaver on the way, and that's kind of a game changer.
Yeah.
Literally.
If there's going to be a move to go up the ramp, it's got to be before that Reaver hits. This is why getting these Zealots is actually really nice if you're going to try to play this way. Zealots can go up the ramp. They don't have that miss chance that in the same way that these Dragoons will. They can get right in that mix, try to get on the high ground and get you vision so that way all your goods can be firing. So that could be like your way to break it through. But you can see right here, like there's a lot of Dragoons from Jesse. She has the gateway count. It's not going to be like 7 versus 4. It's very similar. So you definitely don't want to attack up this ramp. We're seeing from Snail going back home. He's adding on the observatory. So I think leaning into that 3-gate with observers, which typically you got to know when to stop making units and go for expansion. Because if you just keep turning out units, you're never just going to have the money.
Yeah, you're really cutting it close. I mean, good job keeping up on the probe production, but you reach a point. I don't know how many probes it is, so don't cut my neck over. But you reach a point where saturation you got. Your drones, it's diminishing returns. Again, I don't know what number that is.
Oh, this Reaver trying to poke down, trying to get some free damage off. Bait's into a really bad fight.
Nice.
You see some goons trying to go up there, but the Reaver up on that ramp gets a little bit of that high ground bonus, barely takes any damage. And if you actually look,
Nice.
like from both sides of it, now that Jesse has these units and leaning more into actually getting zealous, look at this army we see from Jesse, a big lead here, and with a Reaver in the back, Snail losing a really large fight at the front, despite having a build designed to have units and take a fight early. And this should give Jesse the space they need to get a Nexus up. Meanwhile, looking back at Snail, like look at all his minerals that aren't being spent trying to micro the fight. This could have been a Nexus a while ago.
Certainly. Looks like it's going to be one now. Just to prove you wrong. Nicely done, Snail.
Yeah, the Nexus is going down now, but you can see, like, if you're looking at the tech path between the two players, like, Jesse has a slight worker lead, has the same amount of gateways, has Reaver tech available, Star Nexus is their own, but has an intimidating arm moving across the map. That's a lot of units, and Snail has some Dragoons, but there's no Reaver, there's no splash damage. These Zealots are going to be a very difficult thing to deal with. I think they might be able to force the cancel on the next.
Yeah, Snail, he's going to have to marshal whatever forces he's got, including these 2 Dragoons in the main, if he's going to have any hope of holding this off, because this is a lot of units. And Jess has got a worker lead, she's got an army lead, she's looking really strong here, and she might be able to just bowl him over with some decent micro.
I see one shuttle with one Reaver, and the fights from Snail a little bit spaced out here, losing a bunch of Dragoons very quickly, and then you see the Zealots from Jesse being able to push forward, really push everything back, force him back on the top side. The Nexus does get canceled, And now we see this is kind of the flip situation that we saw before. Nexus getting canceled, the opponent has the base, or has the opportunity to get one, and you see, like, is Jess going to throw it away, trying to force the way up the ramp, or just be comfortable taking that extra base lead?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Going Citadel. Nice. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is where have I seen this? This is self-contained before, mere minutes ago. I enjoy what Jess is doing here. Takes her expansion really casually, isn't fully committing to trying to break the ramp. She's got a good advantage. She's sitting on it. She's not making any rash decisions. I like it. Nice stuff.
Yeah, the only thing I'd comment about this contain down at the bottom. This is definitely the move you want to do, contain the bottom, but space out the Dragoons. Make a big arc so that way when something goes down the ramp, everything's firing. As long as you're not getting hit from the high ground, you can do that. When things are clumped like this, a Reaver from Snail could be the opening to try to break this open and get a bunch of free damage. So you want to kind of have things spaced out a little bit better than this. Just that would be the only criticism I have, but you can see, like, this is okay. Snail getting Observer, sees that the Nexus is done, and there's a bunch of Dragoons and an Observer back at home, so he's going to be able to get cleaned up, but gets in enough to see that Citadel's on the way, more gateways in production as well. So Jesse kind of moving forward into a much stronger mid game, and Snail's got to think of an answer to get something done here, which I don't know what the move is going to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm Snail. I'm not sure what to do here. I mean, I think it's a great move getting the Zealot speed. I think if you're going to try and break out of the ramp, especially considering he doesn't have any shuttles, I think getting speed Zealots is the way to go. And the number of gateways that he's had for a long time has allowed him to produce a ton of units. But man, getting down the ramp and into this whole mess of stuff that Jess has down here is a tall order.
Yeah, if Jess has the patience to never try to go up this ramp, this is not the fight you want to be taking. The only hope that you can see here, and actually Jesse already started doing, is spacing out these Dragoons so they can all fire as stuff comes down. So this is like kind of the only hope, and you can see even trying to deflect the Observer so there's no real information about exactly where to attack from and try to get something done. I think the only hope that Snail would have here is like maybe he rush Storm. That might be like the big damage move. Okay. That is like if Jesse doesn't have and you do, that's like you have an advantage in some tangible way. Go for that kind of fight. Would be so funny if you think it'd be. Jesse being true. When I've seen Snail trying to move down, this is the problem though. A lot of the Zealots getting in the mix with speed, but half these Dragoons not in the fight. Although, like, that Reaver with the shuttle going down, lots of Dragoons still free firing here, but Speed Zealots beat Dragoons straight up like this. And that's a pretty big fight win. Jesse not willing to risk taking the fight too much further, ends up backing off. So Snail reclaims his natural, can take the base that they wanted. There's an Observer here to see when that happens, but I think Snail is trying to push across, try to get some big damage done, but there's a Reaver back at home, plenty more units. That is not the path to victory, my friend.
Oh, nice, dude. Nice break on that contain. Very good job streaming down those Zealots one at a time. Nothing was getting bunched up. Pulls a whole line of Dragoons down so that the ramp is free. That was very nicely done. Takes out the Reaver. Nice. Very nicely done. Yeah, excellent. Now he's back in the game now.
I mean, you say that, but realistically, remember, this Nexus has been up for such a long time, 15 worker advantage, sure. And Jesse, like, has a bank of money that they can't even spend right now. It's still up 20 supplies, so the Army lead, the tech lead's still there. Now, you can see that the only big advantage that you do have for Snail compared to Jess is that they do have speed Zealots, but Zealot speed's on the way for Jess, so that won't even be around too longer. And actually, the Templar Archive is on the way, so I think even though that was so much earlier for Snail, Storm and Templar tech will actually be available to Jesse first.
Yeah, I'm interested to. I would love to know why Snail didn't decide to go down and get into Templar tech earlier, as you had mentioned. Like, I think that would have been a great follow-up. Already got the Citadel, had super fast Zealots. Yeah. Oh, and he's actually going for it, man. Oh, and right into this choke, too. Taking a ton of damage from these Reavers. Dragoons are doing work here.
Those pylons in the way, too. They're going to soak up damage to protecting the Dragoons against the Zealots. This fight is going tragically for Snail. Not this position you want to attack into. And you can see how much is there, and Snail knows that that's it. Like, can't get it done. Taps out.
Yeah.
A valiant effort. But unfortunately, it was too little too late. The breakout happened, but just too much time passed.
Yeah, being contained for that long is rough. It gets to be a little claustrophobic. It's how do I describe this? It can be easy bait to break a contain and then be like, I'm just going for broke, which sometimes you need to do. But I don't think that was the time.
Well, one of the things, I forget who told me it, but one of the things I learned a while back about PvP is if you don't have an advantage in some way, don't take the fight. So that's why I was like, if he got stormed, that's the advantage. He has something the opponent doesn't have, but if the opponent has more zealots and more dragoons and reavers, like, that's never gonna work. You need something to actually turn the fight in a positive way.
Yeah. Makes sense.
All right, we're gonna give,
That's a good rule of thumb. I like that.
We're gonna give PvP a little bit of a break for a little while, but we're still watching Stanel. We love this guy. We're gonna see what he's got here in the top right. In the red Protoss, we got IRK Stanel, and the bottom left in that I guess that's Olive. That's one of the colors I play. That's good. That's Names TV. So another PvZ back in the mix. I'm assuming this time we see a wall, not 2-gate. But we will see.
I think we're gonna see some latency talk. Nice. I think Stan's gonna just do it.
2024 low. Oof, man, that feels crisp, doesn't it?
It does. Nice reference. Nice reference.
Got him.
Nice. Yeah, it's good. The chat got me, and now you got me. I'm loving it.
I got you when the chat got you too. Pylon being made, so we're actually gonna get a wall. Hold on, Pylon getting canceled in the wrong position. Not really the thing you want to be doing here, but if you know that wall is gonna be terrible, I guess that's better to do that. I'm actually not sure on the math on that. If like you should just let it rock or fix it like that. I really don't know what the answer is in that. Unfortunate, but it happens.
Well, if you don't know, there's no way in heaven I know, to be frank.
Oh,
but,
no, I'm bad at walls. Don't like that's.
Oh,
really,
are you?
Oh God, I'm awful.
Are you walls. Do you just commit totally to 2 gates then? Or do you're like, whatever, if the wall works, it works, I'll just put the buildings together?
No, I just make a suboptimal wall and I'll just commit to more cannons. I just don't care.
Okay.
It's not great. It's not fantastic. But that's okay. We got the Forge on the way, so Forge fast expand from Stanel. Honestly, the way he's been playing these other matchups, that does not surprise me even one bit. Just defensive, get my macro going, survive. Like, that seems to be the MO he likes to play by, so happy to see this kind of move here. We're seeing from the Zerg, it was an overpull opening, so nice and safe. Going to be hard to punish this with this long rush distance, even if you do go like 6 lanes and try to force some cannons. Plenty of time to react from Stanel. And he's actually
beautiful job. Beautiful job, Names. Yeah, he pulled his drone all the way up to the top, let the probe come in, and then snuck it down the ramp. Nicely done.
Oh, that's fantastic. Stanel reacting very, very well to this kind of situation. Gets in, gets the scout in time, sees the overpull timing, sees the pool isn't finished. He's actually getting the Nexus before cannons, but sees how many things get morphed afterwards to get some lings on the way. Gonna get the cannons to survive this, so Stanel being as greedy as possible without being overly so, and love that kind of decision when you're doing Forge fast expand. It's so critical to get every advantage you possibly can early.
Yeah, he's consistent. I like it. And I appreciate that he went single Forge first rather than doing the Forge plus Gateway at the same time and then maybe a cannon later.
Oh, that tilts me, man. Don't get me on that rant.
I know,
again.
that's why I brought it up.
Don't get me on that rant again. I hope, like, once we get in regular season, coaches, they're going to knock that at every pro as players. Like, stop doing this. Pick one or the other. Don't do both.
Yeah. Start every cast like, just want to make an announcement for all you Protoss players out there. Don't go Forge and Gateway at the same time. Just stop doing it.
Name's got that third hatchery on the way over on the left side. Moving out with a couple lanes, just enough to keep an eye on, but the wall's complete. Has a couple holes in it though, but there's still a can there. There's no lane speed, not gonna be able to break through that reliably. The Stanel just getting into that spot, moving in. I'm a little surprised. I think the probes got cut a little bit just to get some more stuff going. You see the gas completed here, Cybernex core on the way. So, wonder if the probes were cut just a little tiny bit to get things moving. And the Name's now on three bases. Curious what's gonna be. Is it gonna be lair? Is it gonna be lair?
Yeah. Is this gonna be a lair or is this gonna be a 3-hatch? I'm assuming it's gonna be a lair. That'd be most consistent, but okay. Nice.
Nice, good
That's a
guess.
Hydra Den.
See, this is why we set up questions. We get the view, we lead the viewers
Yeah.
to thinking about
Is it
things, but we
really
don't.
a lair?
You don't commit. Don't commit. Like you look silly when you commit. So we do have the hydrogen on the way. One of these things that's so potent if you don't get a scout, but there is a probe on the map. It's going to be able to move around. It's going first to confirm the third, which I'm not sure how much I'm in love with that, because at this point you should just assume there's going to be a third hatchery. Assume it's at the third. If this probe can get back in, scout for that, it's either lair or hydra. That's such important information. Not going to be able to get in and scout it though. But if Stargate's on the way, that Corsair will be able to get the job done. So hopefully Stanley either sniffs this out, just keeps up on the unit production, should be able to survive this without too much issues. Or just die mercilessly like I always do. I'm not sure.
Going Stargate though, nice. Consistent player. Good stuff. I think it's very interesting that Names went a fourth hatch without going lair. This just signifies that you are fully committing to Hydras, like plain and simple. You're not looking for any sort of Scourge. You're just gonna be playing Hydra, man. You're gonna be looking for that mid game where it's just Hydra printer style, which is, it's valid. But I'd be interested to see how he pulls it off, because you got to drone a little more. I would like to see him saturate this third base a little more. Other than that, though, he put down a couple of creep colonies, just to sort of, just in case of any zealot harass, which is good, but it does definitely cut into your income.
Yeah, I mean, the drone count definitely seems to be climbing a bit, getting these upgrades for the Hydra. So I think comfortable with the way they're playing. Setting up some of the units to protect the third seems like that's where Stan wants to be attacking. Although, of course, Sarah going out, taking out that first Overlord. So supply blocks names for a tiny bit, but does delay the scouting information, which that's one of those things that is like, if there was a big Hydra bush really optimized, you got to prepare for. You would have to make sure you're there and ready in time. So hopefully gets in the base, sees the lack of a lair, starts slamming some cannons down to prepare for this. Zealot's going into the third, though. One sunk is not going to be enough. What happens to that army that was there?
Yeah, it moved just like momentarily, but it looks like he's got enough to clean this up. He's just got to make sure he doesn't lose any drones. That's such a bummer, and hopefully he doesn't lose his Overlord at his snap too. But these Zealots are doing work. They're going to take out everything here. As long as they start to target down a little bit better, they can wipe every unit here. Okay.
Yeah, definitely a big damage.
Valiant effort.
Yeah, big damage done by those Zealots over there. Didn't end up clearing out the base or anything, but definitely slowed things down. Seeing Hydras there already to help defend, that should be kind of a little indicator. But these Corsairs still have not gotten the main. They still have not confirmed the lack of a lair or anything like that. You can see back at home, Stanley didn't add on more cannons, so kind of just playing risky, going for these big Overlord kills, like that dream where you're just like, but if I kill all the Overlords, they can't build Hydras. And now finally going in, as the lair gets started, it should have an idea. Fifth hatchery on the way as well, so Stanley has the information he needs and can start going for these kills.
Names kind of took about 10 seconds off of his game from producing anything, and just slapped down a lair, another hatch, and two Evo chambers at the same time. So this guy is really like, he's looking to push hard for those mid-game upgrades and hard on the macro mode. And he's well on his way there. He's got decent saturation in his natural. He's got decent saturation in his third. And he's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, this game is exactly why I hate 3-hatch Hydra, though. Like, we saw, like, it was the lair so delayed. Names went for this. You even, like, mentioned that they built a fourth macro hatchery. But look how many drones they have. They just went like, this attack's not going to work. Screw it. Didn't build the units. Didn't even go for it. And instead just went to a big, like, powerful thing. That's, like, the thing about this kind of opening. It's like, if you're just prepared for a big attack and it never comes, you're in trouble. And if you say, like, oh, they're just going to macro up, it won't be a big thing, and then the attack does come, like you see some Hydras moving out now, like, you got to dance that line. It's so difficult to get it right.
Yeah, for sure. The Zerg has a lot of options when they're playing against Protoss, and that sort of Hydra bust is always a ace in the hole that affects all of the Protoss' decisions.
Double Evo chambers getting these Hydras upgrades on the way. Lurkitech also on the way, but these Hydras got their range. They're moving in. They're going to be able to poke down and kill off this gateway without too much issue. Unfortunately, with the wall, it's all the abilities poking out a little bit, so it's easy to take them out without having to worry about the cannons or anything. We do see Templar on Templar made. They don't have energy for Storm just yet. First one goes down. Does some pretty good damage, softens them up a bit. Zealot's moving in, trying to fight this off. Forge does go down though, while an upgrade was being researched, so that's going to slow things down a little bit. And I don't see a Forge back in the main. It's being made now, so can't add more cans, but still, Stanley's army is pretty intimidating. Names has to back off.
Yeah, he's got a fair number of units, but Names has a lot of Hydras. That is a comfortable amount of Hydras to take any Zealots that Dan's got out in the field right now. He's just got to be avoidant of those storms, because that's really the scariest thing about a Protoss army. It's just storms, especially when you're bunched up like this. Oh my God! Nice damage. Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, soften up so much here. There's a couple Templar here. As far as energy goes, though, I think there's only one more storm left. You see one with a good amount of energy. The other one's drained out a bit. Lurker Tech just finishing. That storm not as great as some of the other ones. So now it's really going to be Zealous trying to fight this and seeing what they can get done here. It's a fight still like from Stanley though, with these speed Zealous being able to retreat without too much issue. And you can see upgrades on the way. Zerg will be at +1/+1 pretty soon. Lurker Tech's done, but I haven't seen any Lurkers actually start to get morphed yet.
Yeah, he's producing 10 Hydras right now. He is still comfortably in the Hydra Man stage rate. If he wants to really transition into Lurkers, he's gonna have to take this natural gas and start mining from it. He's got it on his third, but
yeah, I think a little unfortunate one of these things that like the Robo's been finished from Stanley for a while, but I'm looking around, I don't see the observatory.
Interesting. Yeah, that's not being built right now. Oh, maybe this is it coming soon. No, get played, Dan. Let's go back to the mineral line. But he's gonna take his third though, so Stan's looking good in that regard. But once these Lurkers come out of the field, I mean, he doesn't have any observers, so he might be stuck here for a while. Not very many Dragoons. I mean, we just got a couple Dragoons now. We're going to see probably a round of Goons coming out soon here. But with no observers, it's going to be a tall order taking those out.
Yeah, you can see Names feel very comfortable with that contained, slammed down a bunch of drones into production, so that work going to skyrocket. Hasn't managed to actually establish the fourth base. As I say that, the hatchery goes down the bottom right, so fourth base on the way. Observatory finally getting made. But for the Zerg, we do see that Burrow got research. I'm curious what that's going to be for. Maybe just to help against the harassment, so you can, not die to everything when you burrow. And then Queen's Nest on the way. So if Names wants that hive tech, that's going to be an option pretty soon.
Nice. So, it's hard to say. This is a lot of Zealots from Stan at the third base. I'm specifically looking at this sort of third contain. And he can very easily bust out of this, but I think that he's going to have to be very careful about how many Zealots he sends in at a time. And especially considering he's got 2 storms ready to rock and roll. But I like the Goons and the storms he's got at his natural base. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage here.
He's trying to poke forward, trying to get some stuff done. The observers got to be very careful not to lose them when they're done. I see one about to finish production. Lurker's slowly getting pushed back a little tiny bit here. So, but
he's taking a lot of damage though.
Yeah, a lot of.
They're just in range of those Lurkers.
Yeah, a lot of free damage, and all those Zealots that we saw third, if they want to try to reinforce for a flank, they're going to have to walk through Lurker shots and a bunch of Hydras. Giant Storm, though, softening up a bunch of this army. And here comes that move out from Stanley, trying to reinforce this fight to clear out this area so he can break out of his natural.
Yeah, nice. A little bit of Congo line going on with the Zealots, but they're out now. They're on the map. They destroyed the natural contain. There's still a few Lurkers over at the third base, but Stan's looking pretty good. He busted out of it. Now you can take the fight to this small Zerg army pretty much head on.
Yeah, it's a good
nice
fight.
Storm.
Yeah, fantastic Storm, softening up a bunch more Hydras. Big reinforcements from Names coming in from the side. It is a Lynx right on top of Dragoon, so this is not exactly what you're looking for here. And Archon trying to be morphed. I don't think that's going to survive long enough to get the job done. So these fights go very back and forth, like a lot of good damage from both players trying to get this consistent. Stanley does establish that third base, but can't get any probes there just yet. Meanwhile, Names that fourth base finished, but no drones there either. So both players in just very similar spots, very even mid-game with the way things are getting traded here.
Yeah, certainly. I like the Goon numbers. Stan should be getting some more storms coming up here, because that's really what's going to keep him in this game. Because these Lings are they're going to ravage your Dragoons if you don't have that Zealot support. Nice rounds, though. Names is he's heading up to Hive here, which I think is a great decision. He's got It's 1-1. His 2-2 is about 3/4 of the way done. So these Hydras are only going to get more and more dangerous. So the clock is really starting to tick for Stan, I think. He's got to saturate that third base. Otherwise, he's not going to be in this for very long.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like, what's going to be the move here from Names as it keeps going forward? Like, as Dragoons get added on, it's like, you get the Hive Tech, is it just going to be for, like, those cracklings with the extra attack speed? Is it going to be for Defilers, especially for Plague, so useful when you're playing this kind of style of Zerg army? Or, like, is it just going to be that money dump ultras? You see a lot of minerals, not a lot of gas banked up just yet, so... Actually, if you actually look at the third base, just now, Names adding on all the guys into the gas. Hopefully, it gets it going at the fourth base as well. So, got a little bit of work here to do, but I don't think Stano feels that pressured right now, despite the tech from Names. It's still 3 base versus 4 base, and that's not so bad as Protoss. Like, you feel pretty comfortable in that.
Yeah, certainly. You know, when you start to get uncomfortable is when the Defiler mound comes down and really the fourth base starts to really kick in, and the fourth gas Zerg, and they can really start to produce a ton of high-tech units. So they have the Defilers, the Lurkers, the Wings, and the Hydras, which is a scary composition. But the flip side of that is being able to produce Storm as a Protoss player. And, man, we got another contain getting set up here at the Natural. This is, again, like... We've seen consistently excellent lurker busts throughout all of these EVPs we've watched. So we might actually get a double bust here. Actually, this might be a triple bust because he actually broke the one at the third too. He's crushing it right now.
Yeah, not getting deterred by this, but you see Name Supply getting a lot closer to the Protoss army. So this is not a trivial army from the Zerg, especially as it starts going into the Hive Tech. You see a ton more on the way. Defiler Mound done. Now starting to consume, so that's going to be the next move. If the army is all Hydras, like, you do have to be careful about using Darkstorm, so hopefully Plague is on the way as well. It's going to be the more useful spell the way Names has it at the moment.
Yeah. Man, this is such a tough position to be in. You're bottlenecked, your Dragoons are getting hit by a lot of Lurkers, and you have a ton of Zealots, but it looks like he's just going to go for it right now. And ton of Zealots going down. These Lurkers are doing work right now. I don't know if he's got enough to break out of here. It doesn't look like he has much.
This fight not going well for Stana. Losing a bunch of units for free. I mean, does eliminate some of the Zerg army, but you can see, like, the macro abilities are going to be there. More upgrades on the way. 2-2 finish. Now 3-3 on the way. So really leaning into this Hydra Lurker kind of stuff. Consume almost finished as well. Bunch more Hydra on the way. If you actually look at that supply. Finally Zerg ahead of the Protoss. So while the bases look pretty even, the only thing I would love to see here from Names is actually trying to take a 5th base, but so focused on the army, keeping this contain alive. Big storm on the Hydras, manages to get it out before it just wipes the entire force, but still, this, like, these little tiny pokey armies with, like, some Dragoons and stuff and a couple storms, like, you can see what's happening in the standoff as it goes on, just not going well. He can't even keep up on his upgrades. He's only at 1-1 compared to Zerg's 2-2.
Yeah. No, Names has consistently done very well with his upgrades. And although the kind of relatively early game can be sometimes a bit shaky for him, as soon as he gets into the mid and late mid game, he looks really good. And that's when those upgrades start to kick in. His economy looks pretty good, and he just has an insane number of hatches.
I'll see.
He's got 6 hatches right now, 4 bases. He's looking good.
Oh no,
nice
not
Reaver.
The probe transfer. Bull trying to get it done. Oh, one Lurker Spine just destroying so much stuff right there. That is not what you want to be seeing. Well, I mean, maybe it's Zerg, that's what you want to see.
Oh, demoralizing even as a Zerg player.
I mean, Reaver trying to go out, help break this contain. That's one of the tools that could definitely help against Lurker contains, but goes too far forward, gets killed for free. And if you look at Stanley's got a lot of probes, but he can't get him to that third base. The main's mined out, the natural's mined out. It's a bunch of probes doing nothing. And you're actually see that there is Dark Swarm going down, just enough so the Hydras can push into the can. So really Storm's the only option here because there's just no Zealots.
Yeah, and Dark Storm's out on the map, so that's never a good sign for your natural as a Protoss player. You want to be out on the map controlling yourself. So I'm not sure. He's going to have to get something done to get over here to this third base with all these drones, or excuse me, these probes. But, you know, he's still got a couple Lurkers out there.
I mean, honestly, it might be worse.
And he's got no melee units right now. He can't even attack this thing.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at the money, though. Names at like 4K, 3K in high tech, so whenever they want to go into ultras, the option's just there. And meanwhile, Standal on fumes has to get to that third base and just keep taking these fights. They're small trays. It's not going well. And I love that decision that we're seeing from Naze. He's not trying to let go of his contain, realize it's the spot. Look at all these probes trying to get their way through. And some of them are actually going to make it, but now Lynx are going to try to go up there. There's only cannons to stop them. This is the high-tech Lynx, though. Like, are they going to be able to like go through these cannons? Not quite enough. But probes are basically the only armor Snail has left. 20 supply for army. The rest is probes, and this is not the spot you want to be in as Naves takes another base up at the top left for that double gas.
Oh yeah, that's a game changer for the Zerg player, and especially for the Protoss player. Actually, I would love to see a little more saturation here at the far bases for names. I mean, he's got a good healthy drone count, but spread them out a little more. And dude, when you're floating 3K, just slap down some extra hatches. That way you can produce even more. Not that, I mean, he's still got great production. And another mass probe exodus moving out. And it looks like most of these are going to safely get away. Beautiful.
I mean, that's the only move Snail has right now. But this is a rough spot to be in, even though you've got the probes there, decent storm shredding on a couple hydras here. But there's so many units pushing in. Now, if you look at this from Snail's point of view, there's so many units here, they're going to clog at either your production, your units can't get into the field, and eventually you're going to be able to work your way up and get to that third base. The only thing defending is cannons, so one Dark Swarm's enough. And Snail realizing just not going to be able to get it done, taps out. Well played by both players, but Names just ready to take that late game. And man, that's not the kind of game I would want to play against, for sure.
Yeah, no, that was really solid. Very consistent. Very consistent. Good game. Very good game.
Yeah, definitely a good one. So we got a couple more games tonight, but just quick interlude. We'll advertise some stuff. Tomorrow, more matches of the week. It's gonna be great. Be here tomorrow, 7 o'clock EST. Other than that, what else do we got going on? We got Team Reveal stream going on. That's going on January 9th. Check the Discord for the full details about time and things. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Snipe. It's going to be Strom Carlin. It's going to be IRK Age. We're going to be talking about the teams. We're going to be talking about the maps, the next season. It's a great time. Be there. Other than that, there's always casts going on. Stay in the Discord. You'll be able to get all the information you need to watch more CPL games. But we're getting near the end of that preseason break. Regular season going to be starting soon, so make sure you guys are playing ladder and getting ready, because we're going to be in regular season before you know it. You don't want to be caught with your pants down.
That's right. So if you're a little rusty, get on the ladder, get 2-gated repeatedly, lose hope, come back to CPL, and remember that there's beautiful people in the world still.
Lose hope. Listen, you can defend it, man. You can defend it. That's.
I accidentally joined a big game hunters. Whoops.
Nice. Oh, we're waiting for our caster to come back here. Hey, there he is.
Here I am. Accidentally took a detour into a. Actually, I'm not interested.
Good move. That's okay. In the top right, in the gray, Names TV, still trying to camouflage into the map. And the bottom left, Snail 6 with that nice bright magenta. Finally, the savior of people. But yeah, they didn't play top versus bottom. I can't change it. We're playing pink versus gray. That's good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got yellow. All right, I don't believe we've seen Snail play against a Zerg, have we?
Well,
am I losing my mind here?
Considering there's only one Zerg in the group, no, we haven't.
Okay, all right. My God, I feel like I've seen so much more of Zerg than one player. Jeez.
There's only been the one player. And you've only actually seen him twice, because we got the last game's going to be a TVZ, saving the best matchup for last for the people.
Nice.
We're seeing Snail pylon going up at that front wall. He's actually putting the pylon behind the egg, so I'm curious what this wall is going to be. I can't say I'm in love with this. I'm bad at walls, and I know I don't do this for a reason. So there's something that's not going to be working out great here. This is not the way that I think you wall the bottom part of this map like this. It's going to be very hard to not have holes that are going to be a problem, but I mean, what we saw last time from Nails, we even see it here. We got that overpool opening. It's nothing too crazy. Didn't invest heavy into the lanes. Just try to get to that mid game. So even if the wall's not fantastic, I don't think it's going to be a problem. But Snail opening with a gateway instead of a 4, it's exciting.
If he can pull this off, man, as a Zerg player, playing against somebody who does well with the gate first opening, harasses with the zealots, puts their units behind your mineral line. It's infuriatingly beautiful, you know. And as a someone who gets to watch these games now, it's like, oh, it's just such a great opener. If I was a Pro Toss player, I would open gate first every game.
Oh, here's that name's like little move with the drone, just to make sure it doesn't get scout, doesn't get blocked off. Does that little move off to the side again to ensure they get the hatchery down. So that's definitely thought out by names. I think you know, for CPL, watch out for it. You know the plan. You can block it. just commit.
Yeah.
And see, this is why this wall, I don't like it. Look at that forward positioning. This is not what you want. And this is also gateway and forward. We're going to yell at you until you stop doing it, people.
Snail.
Do not do this opening. This opening makes no sense.
Now he's just got to skip Stargate, and you will be at peak trigger here.
No, I used to play Citadel openings. That's fine, man. You can do Citadel openings. That's cool. Now, you do see names moving across with a couple links here. Now, there is there's probes down here to block I guess block part of the wall, but what part of the wall are you gonna block? There's one cannon here. There's buildings around it, so I guess that's nice. That's gonna be hard to actually get to it to stop it. But will that actually be done? If the lanes just commit and run past it, I don't think it's gonna be done. One zealot's not gonna be enough to actually dissuade this. Like that's not how you block anything. Will the Zerg see it and go for it? He sees the cannons morphing, doesn't want to go for it. Unfortunately, that could have been a big opportunity the names did not want to take.
Yeah, and the cannon's about to finish, so that window is totally closed. But yeah, there was a moment there where he could have. Oh, nice. And the zealots up here getting some harass going on.
Even look at Snell. He put a cannon in the main, thinking that wall's like, this wall ain't great. And like, what if lanes get past? He put a cannon in the main to be sure. If I'm names, I am going 3-Hatch Hydra 100% of the time seeing this. This wall is not designed well. It's leaving so little space for cannons to actually defend it. 3-Hatch Hydra destroys this, I think.
Yeah. Names, though, I mean, I think he could definitely... He could definitely easily transition into a 3-Hatch Hydra. And the reason I've been thinking about it is because he tends to skip over that stage of the game very quickly and just go for a really late layer, really late layer, and just throw down an extra macro hatch and then just commit fully to the Hydra mid-game. So very interesting choices by him. But there's these two Zealots from Snail coming up here. This could... this might actually do some damage if he's not careful. If he can get in here before these Sunken finishes... This naturally could be in a lot of trouble, actually.
I think the plan might be he's waiting for that third zealot because one, there's no buildings to really block off the ramp. He doesn't have the links really in position. He might be able to either just take the Sunken straight up or just walk right past it into the main. So I think he's trying to keep things here. Maybe also just being prepared for a counterattack. But you can take a look at both players' name doing what he did before. Here comes the zealots. Sees one Sunken, doesn't want to really engage. It backs right off. And
just walk over to the third.
I mean, definitely, there's a possible chance. You see some links moving around, though. If you got that snail wall, you're a little bit worried about some links. So, having these zealots out in the open field, definitely, I don't feel comfortable here watching this. Like, it's going to be weird to see where it goes from here. And we're going to see, like, another cannon going down. That cyber core has been done for a while, but Snail hasn't actually made their tech choice. Meanwhile, a Hydra Den on the way, so... I don't know if this is going to be committed to be a 3-Hatch Hydra. We've seen this from names before. He makes it, but that doesn't lean into it. Ends up droning behind it, just using the threat to keep moving forward. Like I said, this is just not a good wall to get you a lot of cannons to survive that kind of thing. I would love to see him actually commit to the attack.
Yeah, definitely.
Stargate out of the way. So Snail trying to get into a more reasonable kind of mid game, but just a rough situation when you do these gateway openings and you. Like, he only forced one Sunken. He only forced a handful of legs. He didn't like force a lot of things. And meanwhile, names just playing the game they want to play. Fourth macro hatchery out of the way. So I'm just going to see a very similar game to what we saw before. It looks like kind of just a set plan, regardless of what the opponent's doing.
Certainly. Yeah, I mean, without a tremendous amount of pressure from Snail, Names is just droning up super hard, that's the MO for a Zerg player. If you have the opportunity to drone, do so. Get yourself comfortable. Get yourself into that eco mid game, and then you can just start pounding out units.
Every time I see a drone, like more drones than probes, my heart breaks a little tiny bit. Like it's just
that's scary.
That's not what I
That's
want
like
to see.
that's one of those like big markers in the game where you're like, oh boy, that's like when the Zerg has like a significant supply lead over the Protoss. You're like, uh-oh, things are looking dastardly here.
Yeah, one of the things I'm seeing though that's a little unfortunate. I don't know if this is planned or just maybe in the like chaotic parts of the game. We see Stargate on the way. We see +1 air weapons, but the ground weapons hasn't been started yet. And when you're adding on more gateways, you open with these Zealot kind of openers. And it's very surprising to not go for some kind of forge upgrade to make them better initially.
Yeah, yeah, and that +1 attack for your Zealots is going to be extremely important, given that you're going to be heading up against a field of Hydras, because that is Name's MO. Getting Hydras, getting a lot of them, getting a later layer, 2 evos, and then just punishing you with 1/1 Hydras into a soft lurker contain.
Yeah. And see, this is where I think Name's the way he plays actually shines the best. You see Snail adding on a bunch more cannons, really preparing for whatever attack's coming. Of course, they're finally getting to the main, so you should see like, oh, Lair's only on the way, Hydras are a possibility. But even if Names doesn't commit to the attack, you force so many cannons, you have a good healthy worker count, you establish your third base without any issues. Like, you're in a good spot, I think, no matter what you do here. But still, like, when Hydras have the range, they can just start poking down this gateway. There's probably a good opportunity for them to get actually in on that pylon too and depower all these defenses.
Yeah. Yep, this is playing out. It's like clockwork. Coming in, getting a lot of Hydras, putting a lot of pressure on the front end. Protoss tries to move out. He usually does great damage against them. Pulls back, gets his lurker aspect, and then just starts to hard contain. So the real question here, that I'm very curious about, is if Snail is going to give us that final game. The final game where we're going to see an excellent breakout from the Protoss player. We've had one in every other one, so I'd like to see that trend continue.
We got one more game with this. Why are you saying final?
Wait, what? This isn't our final PvZ?
No. Oh, this is the final PvZ, but there's contains in TvZ too.
Oh, I was just talking about just the Goon, Storm, Zealot trio that just, wow, it's beautiful.
No, this is not final game, Flash. Calm down.
No. That's right. We got to revisit. Flash is like, hold up. My pre-spire timing isn't going to be seen by everyone for the second time? Come on now. Don't play me like that, casters.
See, like, look what you do to the people. Zealot's moving out now. Now they got speed and they're moving out, but again, they don't have these attack upgrades. Well, a decent amount off, I think it's going to be okay. Lots of Hydras already on the field, though. If you look, the supplies are even. This is not what you want to be in as a Protoss. And it's like, if we see Snail moving on the map, like, you got to establish his third base almost immediately, I think, because if you're looking back in the Protoss base, like, it's not like he slammed down 1,000,000 gateways. He's not keeping up on the upgrades. I don't think you want to be trying to force a 2-base time here. I think you try your best just to set up that third base and get into a comfortable spot.
Yeah. Snail looks like he's thinking about maybe putting some pressure on the third base, but given the veritable football field of Hydras up there, I don't think much is going to happen. And lurker aspect is coming up. Question for my own interest: when is it appropriate to get your robo? Is there, as a Protoss player, like, is it more of a timing thing, or is it okay, I noticed that you're now got your finalized layer, and I suspect that you're going lurkers? Like, how do you make that decision?
As a Protoss that dies to lurkers in almost every PvZ, I'm not answering that question. I've started getting it earlier than I think I need it, just so I'm safe. But I know that's not right. I just can't feel it out. I do not know. Snipe busting out the rhyme. Robo and 9 should be in time. Okay, good enough. Right. Mini freaking the Blyman here, taking up the mantle.
The spirit of the Blyman scene. Okay, Robo before 9. Okay.
Yeah, so the fact that we're at 11, the Robo's here, but I don't see observers. We see more gateways going down for Snail, though, committing to that 2-base play. The worker count is reasonably healthy for Snail. I don't think that's so bad. He does have a probe over at the third, but there's no use defending that. Meanwhile, Names, with every Hydra in the history
Look
of the
at how many
made them all.
That's a disgusting amount of Hydras. Look at that. You can't even fit him through that narrow. Oh, wow. He's got a lot of storms, though. Okay, so if enough time goes by, Snail's going to have enough storms to... Oh, LOL. It's like a 12 lurker drop. Nice. Okay, so we're going to see another lurker contain.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your wish. Meanwhile, Nate's taking this opportunity, setting up that fourth base down to the bottom right. I'm surprised the way he plays. He's not really trying to go for that top left, that double gas base where he would make so much use of all these gas units. And we're seeing Hive just getting started here as well as more upgrades for the ground force. So I think we're going to be seeing just the same kind of thing we saw last time. Well upgraded Hydra Lurker down at the bottom, then going into these Hive Tech units. Which, I mean, they didn't play a key part last game, but still, even just this core force, like, the supply is about even. Drones are up. There's a fourth base on the way. Pro's going to have to work some magic to get back in this game, because right now, he's definitely behind.
Yeah, that's a slightly concerning amount of units at the Protoss front base. Especially given he only got 3 goons. So,
actually, breaking his contain will be hard. He actually, he just doesn't have a lot of room to move units here. He's gonna probably have to kill some of these cannons just so the units can move more fluidly, not for the conga line.
He's still building zealots. Okay, that's the last round of zealots. I was gonna say I think he's got to switch to full goons here, because this is rough. You need goons and storms, and obviously observers. Okay, it looks like he's actually gonna move it. He's going for it here. He's pushing out, but that's a tremendous number of units. Nice storm, but drop of water in the ocean, unfortunately. And he's pushing forward still, but he's having so many units getting blocked by these cannons. Oh my gosh, these units are getting just absolutely torn up here.
This is rough. Like, calling it before it happened. I didn't want it to happen, but it's just one of those things. Especially, you gotta think about the wall. Be willing to kill these cannons. They're useful for early defense, but at a certain point, your army does the job. You gotta make sure it can move out smoothly. So many lurkers here, well spaced out too. That was probably the best storm opportunity you get, getting 3 of them, but still plenty of lurkers alive, plenty of hydras as well. And Name's not overcommitting, just making sure this contain goes through. And we went from even food to down about 30 for Snail, so big win there for Names as that base gets established. And just a couple Corsairs that try to get some damage done, but just so many drones now. 63. Names' economy looks so potent.
Yeah, and he's Names he's got a ton of hatches. He's looking really good. He's getting his ultra down. His 3-3 is on the way. I mean, he's looking. His 1. That's 1-1. Wow, his upgrades are a lot later than the rest of his games, but it doesn't really matter when you're this far ahead. He's got great saturation. He's rocking 62 drones. That's ridiculous. So I think he can kind of ride this game out. But this is a nice sneaky third from Snail. I like it.
I don't like the cannon placement though, because I think they're thinking there's a second entrance at the top of the base, like you usually see on some of these third bases. But a lot of these cannons, they're off to the side. Like, if you want to just move up and down below this nexus, none of those cannons do anything. I think maybe thinking that was the fourth and putting the cannons up further because there's all those entrances up at the fourth base. But a little unfortunate. Big heavy investment on the defense that should be easy to navigate, but Names has no interest in doing any of that. He's just going to keep you locked into this base, and I think he feels comfortable with how many lurkers he's got on the field here. I see 11 already with plenty of hydras, just really making a really strong contain as that Lynx get an extra attack speed upgrade to put in some more damage a little bit later on.
Yeah, and this is breakout part 2 here, but this lurker line just extends so far. He's got more Dragoons now, which is good, but he's really got to throw down some storms. Nice storm, very well done. Get those goons up here, bring up the rest of your units, and start to take it a little bit slower here. He's losing so many units right now. These lurkers are shredding his army. I just don't know if he has the numbers to actually pull this off here.
Yeah, Templar moving forward, going right into it. Some decent storms, lose a lot of units. One of the observers was really far back, so there actually wasn't even vision. It was just walking into more lurkers behind it, but couldn't get anything done. So you see again a sizable supply lead for Names, but look at that giant bank. If he wants to throw down a bunch of ultras or a bunch of hydras, a bunch of lings, it really is going to be limited by his larva at this point more than anything. And you can see skyrockets back up to around that 130 mark, having now a 50 supply lead. And Snail's going to have a hard time breaking this. I think the only hope he has is hope that third never gets spotted, which I'm Names. You look at, he has units everywhere scouting for extra base except that third.
Oh, nice job with these Corsairs. I like this a lot. You're contained, your opponent's building a ton of Zerglings. Just go in, pick off a couple of Overlords.
This is a bold move out from Snail. He gets a supply block, killing enough Overlords, but moves out a bunch of the army down to the lower right, trying to put some pressure on another base. But it's if all your army's here, what's defending your base? I'm surprised Names isn't going for a counterattack.
Certainly. Nicely done. Very nicely done.
This contained is so strong. I like that he's moved it down. He's covering this sort of south exit from Snail's natural. But this attack of the third is pretty strong. He looks like he might lose all his units, but he could take this third base out. He's got time.
Oh, he's definitely going to lose all his units. Look at that stream of Zerg on the minimap flowing down. Looking like a campaign mission. You got to make sure, like, you can get here, you'll get the hatch, maybe, but I'm not going to let you get out any further. Then after that, like, you clean up all these units, like, you should be able to just go straight to the natural because Snail just doesn't have the production to re-establish all the stuff he's losing right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at this probe transfer right through the, like, a Hydra or two, like some of the lurkers, like, he didn't even care. He's not even trying to hide the third anymore. Definitely gets spotted. All names units clean up that attack at the third. Look at that supply difference now. Now up about 60 with 10 ultras on the way. That's gonna be that final blow.
Yeah, if you were wondering if this game was going to go on much longer, I'll just point you to these 10 ultras that just got made with their with Carapace upgrades. Yeah, I think this is sort of the beginning of the end here, and this tremendous number of lurkers in the front. He still has 6 or 7 lurkers up there.
See a little conga line attack from Names, trying to put some pressure down at this third base. I feel like you don't even have to try to go in with the Lynx, the Hydra. You can wait for the ultras because cannons versus ultras, it's okay, whatever. It doesn't really matter. A couple lurkers cleaning up the attack from Snail, trying to break out again. Does clean up these couple lurkers, but loses some things on the way. Actually, Names loses a good amount of army trying to fight this off, but breaks down all these cannons, putting the pressure on the third. Snail's gonna have to do something to actually survive it. And you just see more units flowing in here. Ultras are finished, and so are some drones. We gotta see what he's gonna do with them.
Yeah, I mean this is a lot of Hydras. Even with this third base, he's going for it. Where are these ultras at? All right, there we go.
Yeah, they're coming from they're coming from a different path.
Yeah, and they got speed now, so this is doing so much damage. And 2-2 is finished. Names TV looking very strong in every single game we've seen him in. He's looked very, very good. Nicely done. Very nicely done. But he's still got to close this out here. But it's looking like with this number of ultras, I think he's got this.
Yeah, remember some of the cannons up the front got killed off to allow the Protoss to move out here. Meanwhile, the Hydras and then some ultras moved to that third. Definitely going to take out that Nexus. So Snail losing that extra base, the main mined out, realizing it's over, taps out here. Snail trying hard in a lot of these games, but I just think some of these players playing a little bit more solidly, which is, there's no problem with that in preseason for sure.
Yeah, preseason is where you can get all that, get all those matches out of the way. Hopefully, it's for me. But
all right, we got one more. It's a Flash. Stop waiting. He gets to see his final game. He's so excited. But it's gonna be a good one. We see Stanel and we see in the Flash both very proficient at the races they play. Curious to see how this game's gonna go. So, gonna see final game of night. If you've been keeping track, this is only game 9. One of the games the group did not get played, so unfortunately don't got that last one for you. But this one hopefully makes up for it in top right. TL Flash for the win, playing Terran in green. Well, we got some festive holiday colors, and in the bottom left, RK Stanel picking red. So there we go. This is great for everyone except if you're colorblind. Then it might be a nightmare. Which I'm gonna change that actually. I'm gonna change that just in case.
The red and blue is a classic one. Yeah, bummer we didn't get to see Flash and Jess play, but I think that we've got a good one on our hands. Because based on how Flash was playing in that TVZ, he looked pretty consistent. Looked like his timings were quite good. And I'm very excited to see him go up against Stan, who's been a very rock-solid player so far.
Oh, come on. You know what word you wanted to use.
I did.
Embrace the meme. Embrace it. Come on. That's fun.
Stanel, king of crisp. The man who knows how to get it done. Deep fried IRK. Looking good.
Now, what we've seen from Stanel, like stock standard all the way, everything like is normal, looking great.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised.
For words.
I'm expecting to see 3 base Arbiter. Like the classic kind of build that you do, PvT, gives you all the options you need. You got stasis, you got recall, you can break things open. But mainly it sets up that good macro game, which Stanel seems to really favor, getting that good macro setup going.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm going to be interested to see what Flash goes for. We saw one of those FD pushes early on, the 2 tanks with tremendous number of Marines. That was a nice game. I, especially thinking back on it now, with some time in between, I really enjoyed that he set up a nice sort of casual contain, but didn't bring his entire army down to Protoss players' naturals. Really committed. So he very easily took that drop from Snail.
Yeah, as the chat pointed out, the probe here pretty early, looking like maybe attempting that gas deal, which is pretty hard on this map because even though it's a 2-player map, you know where they're going to be. It's still a pretty long walk distance going diagonal to diagonal on a map like this. So you have to move out pretty early to try and get there in time. It does also give the Protoss player the knowledge. It's like, oh, it's not proxy racks, not some shenanigans. And you got the probe in the base to see, like, factories on the way, guys pulled from the gas. You can kind of write off 2 factory as an option. But what we saw last time from Flash was that kind of strong FD with 2 tanks really setting up that contain. So if Stanel does like this kind of 1-gate expand kind of opening, he needs to be very careful to sniff that out and be ready for it.
Yeah, I liked the spirit of thinking about doing the gas deal. I really appreciate that. That's one of those Protoss maneuvers I think are just great. And in any game that I see it, it just excites me. But I'm very excited to see what sort of pushes we see out of Flash. Is he a 6 factory kind of guy? Is he more of a 5 factory kind of guy? We already discussed whether he was a 2 factor. So,
which I mean, he wasn't. So,
yeah, he wasn't. But but he was an aggressive player, which was good.
Yeah, I mean, so like when you do these kind of FD openings, you get that strong push. It has the potential to do damage. It has the potential to even like just win the game outright or put you in a really good spot. But the main thing is that it's keeping Protoss back, setting up your base, and getting into a decent mid game, like in a safe kind of way. So it's like it doesn't even have to do any critical damage. So while it's aggressive to do that, like the stronger variation with the extra siege tank, really kind of leaning into it. It really, at the end of the day, that's not like the degenerate kind of build, or it's just like some kind of crazy all-in or some committed kind of push. Now,
yeah, it's not like proxy raxing into fact, you know. Yeah, it's crazy banana stuff.
No. Well, like I was saying though, what I was expecting from Standal, here's that 1 gate, Nexus on the way, so that kind of more macro focused, but very standard kind of opening. Unfortunately, not keeping the Dragoon forward too much, so he's not going to see this move out. He's not going to be able to slow it down. It also means he's not going to lose the Dragoon, but if you don't realize like what's happening and be able to slow this down a bit, you need more time for production, especially since gateways are getting added on now. Still on 1 gateway production. If Flash just moved out here, this could have been very intimidating, but fortunately waiting a little bit, giving us a better game.
Yeah, I think he would have just absolutely, Karate Kid swept him if he decided to come out and push right then. So it's a little more delayed, but he's got a few more Marines and that 2nd tank on the way. So this is still looking really terrifying, actually.
Yeah, moving across, same kind of thing we saw before. A bunch of Marines, 2 tanks, 1 SCV to start setting up that bunker and things. And Standal sees it. Only 2 units on the field. Another Dragoon here. Back at home, though, not a whole lot. And there's a pilot at the front that, maybe distracts. They can have an opportunity for to slow down the Terran a little bit, but if I'm Flash here and I see this, I push straight to that Nexus and set up that contain just like we saw before.
Yeah, I'd say he's got Flash has got a lot of things going for him right now. Real strong, got a lot of damage, and another round of Dragoons, which is great. He's going to be able to nice pick up on the SCV. He's got to have good micro here. So far, he's doing a good job. He's going to take out that 1 tank. Well done.
Yeah, that bunker not getting established, the SCV going down, definitely a huge part to slowing this down. Not being able to get these Marines in a bunker is going to be a lot easier to break this contain. Stanel does pull the probes, trying to set something up, but now there's a Vulture with a couple blinds he laid down. Need to be careful here. That 1 mine, big hit there, killing a couple probes in one of the drones. The other mine's not getting a lot done here, but still you can see a lot trying to happen. Vulture getting rallied to its death before it puts out any mines. And this defense a lot better than what we saw before, but where's that 2nd tank? Wasn't there the 2nd tank before? I guess not.
Already took it out. Yep. No, Stan did a great job microing, focusing down exactly what you need to, which is those huge damage dealers. Taking those tanks out is so important. Takes out the SCVs twice now. This bunker isn't going up. This is a
This has been quite a good defense. Very well done.
Yeah, so this is a good win for Standal defending this, not having to lose the Nexus. Slows down the mining, slows down the whole plan, but look back at home for the Terran player. He's got his his CC's done. He's got plenty of SC Zor transfer, so that bought him the time and the safety to get that base going. Second factory on the way, and now we're going to get into a normal mid game. So it's not that gross containment we saw before, but Flash still got to be feeling very comfortable that it's like, okay, this isn't like I'm going to get counter pushed and lose a bunch of things here. It's 2 base versus 2 base, and Terran loves that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's even bases, but in the long run, Terran's way, way, way more comfortable. So I'm interested. I know Stan doesn't have, he's probably aware of the fact that there's mines on the map now. He can confirm that, and he doesn't have any detection. So he's probably going to stay at home, I say, as he slightly moves out. Okay, never mind, he's back. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. So he, okay, all right. So he's probably going to go observers, right? You don't want to errantly move out and lose a bunch of your Dragoons to mines, because that's an easy way to throw a game after such a nice defense against a very aggressive Terran player. So now that we're kind of casually approaching the mid game, I'm very interested to see what Flash is going to choose to do here. Right? What kind of mid game player do we have? He ended the earlier match so quickly that I didn't get to see much of his higher level play.
Well, like you were talking about, that we were on the way to getting some observers. Rabak about to finish, and the Citadel of Dune on the way as well. Now, there will be observers coming up, and while it is useful to clear out mines and make sure you don't lose your units to a big thing, one of the big things that Protoss needs to do at this spot here, get an observer in the main. You gotta get an idea of what Terran's trying to do. How many factories do you see? Do you see one armory or two? Do you see a science facility? So you get an idea of, like, they're trying to build this army, but are they trying to move out like +1/+0, +2/+1? Are they just trying to like 5 factory with no upgrades and catch you off guard? You need that observer in the base to see what's going on so you can react appropriately. And you see even a Zealot trying to walk across. Mines are going to be able to take it out, and there's another Zealot up at the 12, so Nose Flash isn't on 3 base, but the observer's going to do the rest of the job. And a probe over at the 3rd gets taken out by Vulture before it gets set up that Nexus. Unfortunate delay that. I think Stan really wanted to get that 3rd base going.
Yeah. Still waiting on this observer. It'll be out soon. I think once Stan, obviously the crisp player that he is, and he's waiting for that information to know where he's going to move from here, right? I imagine, and especially with my experience playing him, he's very good at just eliminating possibilities. So he'll say like, okay, I don't know what my Terran opponent's doing. I'm not sure what Flash is thinking or where exactly his plan is going. So I'm going to wait for my observers. I'm going to move out. I'm going to confirm what I think, and then I'm going to move forward with a very solid plan. So rather than just like blindly going for this 3rd Nexus and just like hoping or pushing out onto the map and hoping that you don't get hit by a Dragoon, he's really playing very conservatively, which I think is a good move here.
But playing conservatively is not going to yield a lot of things. Another probe tried to transfer to the 3rd. The Vulture managed to take it out, slow down that base even further. Meanwhile, Flash's 3rd CC is done. There is a Zealot here, but it's not even going to block the CC from landing unless he reacts in time. But look at that worker count we see from Flash. Now adding on extra factories. Was on 2 for such a long time. Getting a starport, and consider the time of where the army upgrade is, I think we're at least going to see a plan to get a 2nd army, go for that +2/+1, so Flash going into a bigger kind of macro style play. But that can still lead to a very intimidating push. Considering that Stanley's 3rd base keeps getting delayed, I would actually expect to see the push on +2/+1 before Stanley can recover.
Yeah. I'll agree with what you just said.
Nice. Nice.
All right. Nice. 3rd base. I'm surprised that Stan didn't try to fight this 3rd base take sooner, actually. But that would contradict everything that I just said less than a minute ago. So I suppose to some extent I'm glad he didn't. Right? All right. 3rd Nexus going down. Nice. Taking out this barracks. Good moves. Good moves. And let's see if he can actually take out some tanks here. That would be so beneficial for him in the long run.
Yeah, trying to attack from both fronts here. There is a bunch of mines here. The Observer a little bit trailing behind, so the mine's doing some pretty good damage. This tank's very spread out in a way that's hard to break through, so Stanley's attack doesn't really get a whole lot done. Lose a bunch of units here. And when you see Flash, he's up on workers significant now and still up on supply as well. Having that 3rd base done and established compared to the Nexus, which is about halfway done now for Stanley. This is a rough situation. but the observer is in the mains, gets an idea of how many factories are here, how many have add-ons, and they're, like I was calling before, here comes that second armory, expecting when this a science facility on the way soon as well, so we can keep these upgrades rolling for Terran.
Certainly. Yeah, he is gas starved for sure, but he's got plenty of minerals, man. Just build yourself like 40 vultures at this rate. You got the money for it. Pound it out.
Well,
Other than that, his macro's looking good.
Well, third base only has one guy mining gas, unfortunately. It's finally getting fixed up on that, so just a little bit slow, but yeah, gas start for sure. That's one of these things that makes these mid-game Terran things. It's like, yeah, vultures are great. I think they're broken, but it's like...
Vultures are very, very good, yeah. Very, very good. Okay, so, Stan. Redemption period here. I would love to see... He's got more zealots mixed in, which I think is phenomenal. Get some mind drags in.
He should not attack right now, period.
He shouldn't attack, but if he was feeling spicy, and he was feeling lucky.
No,
he's getting back from Vegas.
No,
pre-COVID. I think
he's just starting Arbiter Tribunal. There's Templar Arc out of the way. He's adding on forges. He's got a probe up to set up a fourth base. He does not attack right now. He should be just to defend his fourth, which Flash and the Vulture Murder Squad is going to be able to stop that if he reacts soon enough.
You know, you're talking sense, and I'm not appreciating it right now. You're making good points, and I don't like it. Stan,
it's almost like I play this race.
Yeah, move in, lose all of your units, and just GG quietly. That's the way to do things. No, only joke. Oh my gosh, yeah, Flash has 70 SCVs. This is a rockin' economy for sure.
Yeah, this is just that snowball effect of what I was saying. Like, look, like it's not like Stanel doesn't build probes or like gets worker going, but how delayed that third was, how pressured he was to get something done. That probe doesn't even start that fourth nexus. All these vultures laying a bunch of mines. I mean, they're gonna be able to take out this pylon. That's no big deal, but you gotta be careful. Don't move up that ramp to 1 million mines up a high ground advantage.
Yeah, you don't want to throw your goons away, but arbiters are on the way. And stasis is done, so things are looking pretty good.
Air weapons are being researched.
Oh, hey yo!
Hey, now
I think Storm is done, right?
What's that?
I said I think Storm is done, right too.
Storm is done as well. Now,
oh my God,
I want this to be just that genius kind of move where you have no intention of going carriers. You don't even build a fleet beacon, but if they see the Cyber Core researching. And they see upgrades are on the way. That's like that kind of mind game, that cheeky mind game. It's like, maybe this gets me back in. They just start adding 1 million Goliaths, and I've never intended to go carriers.
Yeah, that's right. And the ultimate mind game counter to that is to never scout your opponent. Don't even use your scans, Flash. Keep them at home. Save them up for lurkers in the TVZ matchup. You don't need to know what the Protoss is doing. Don't worry if it's arbiters. Don't worry if it's carriers. Just hang out, take your third, take your fourth. I'm full of bad advice today. Just don't do anything I say, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree to not listen to a lot of your advice in this matchup particularly.
Don't.
Now we're seeing a giant move out from Flash, about to hit max here. The upgrades +2/+1 are moving along. They're not all the way there yet, but Arbiter Tech is on the way. But you can see Stanel's army. It's just kind of core gateway units. Stasis isn't done yet. Flash starting to scan, see what he sees. Sees that fourth base did actually get started again, but not completed. He's got plenty of things down here, looking for whatever things he can find advantage for. Pilot's trying to get made to lock in for a fifth base. But I think when you see Stan's giant vulture squad here, you don't really want to force that. Stanel trying to move his army out to deflect them so he can get another base going.
Oh, geez. Oh, lost a couple of units there. So disheartening. This is where the production of Protoss needs to match the power of the 200 mech army, right? Like, you need to be able to trade. You don't necessarily have to trade super efficiently, as long as you have enough gateways and economy to back it up, right? If you take out a ton of tanks here as Stan, you can very easily remax if you have the gateways for it. But I just don't see those gateways, and I don't see the economy behind that. So he really has to take the best fight he can, possibly.
The strategy you're saying, it's a good idea. It makes sense, but that's when you're ahead. When you have the supply lead, when you have the more bases, and you can force the economic issue. But Flash has been ahead on economy and supply this entire game, so it's not like he has the units to throw away and try and force it. Look at this giant vulture fucking death squad moving to its fourth base. There's not even tanks here. It's just a million mines and vultures, enough where they're going to be able to kill buildings. But Stanley taking the opportunity, giving up the fourth base, trying for a counterattack and see if he can get some damage. He has done to the third of the production.
Nice. Beautiful. And that's the move we're talking about. You got to take really as much advantage as you can. Bringing those tanks all the way back. I mean, he's going to be stuck here a little bit, but I think this is a great move.
Oh, the Arbiter goes down with the turrets. Just had too far forward. That means the stasis aren't going to be available. No cloaking field. And look at all these Terran units coming back. They're going to be trapped in these units. Storm's trying to fight their way out, but when these tanks get to there, these Protoss units are trapped. There's just not going to be a move. EMP, I think, went down to hit some of the shields of these Protoss units as well to make it even easier. Zealot's getting into that main, but just, oh man, this Terran army is terrifying. You're going to be able to get some damage done, but I don't think this is going to be worth losing your army for.
No. No, and Stan just lost his fourth, so not looking too good. Lost all his units. I mean, great storms, but man, you gotta have stasis or something going on there. He lost that Arbiter, unfortunately, quite early.
And Flash immediately scanning some more expansion, trying to get an idea if their Snail's trying to like be cheeky, sneak his way back into the game with a bunch of bases that he doesn't deserve. But really, it's just they lost a whole bunch of army. Another Arbiter's here. The upgrades are on the way. And I don't think there was ever that reaction either to that arrow weapons being researched. It's just like, maybe I could trick him. Pressure go down into that bottom right. The next never even got started, but it's not going to be given the chance. Stanley back on 3 bases, down 100 supply. And honestly doesn't have the money or the infrastructure to really combat this Terran army. Whenever Flash wants to end this game, I think it happens.
Yeah. No, I think you're 100% correct. It's so rough as the Protoss player when you start to get behind economically, where you're not able to really deal with the, you're not able to force the Terran back into their base, and you just can't take those good trades. Rough position. And then you get EMP'd and your Arbiter has no energy. And yikes. There it is again.
Yeah, another lack of a stasis that might be able to help out this fight. I don't think it'd be enough, but still, stasis on tanks could do something. Decent storm up these vultures at the front, but really you got to get the tanks. They're the real driving force. They're going to keep this push going, being forced back all the way to the natural, probably up to the main. I think this is the death blow, just kind of waiting it out for Stanley. Last stand, which he calls GG as I start that whole rant, and another good win from Flash. Very well executed game. That's the kind of game that you should be proud of. That you just like, look how good I hit this build. Yes.
Yeah, it's a game you can definitely be satisfied with at the end of the day. Quite good.
All right, so that's the last one I got for us tonight. Thank you to my co-caster CoZ for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks to all you guys for being here tomorrow as well, right? Yeah, you're going to be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. We got another match of the week for you. It's going to be a good time. Not sure who my co-caster is yet. We'll figure it out, but be here. You'll figure it out. And then, I'm going to keep plugging in advertising. Team Reveal stream January 9th. Be on the Discord. You'll see the details. You got me, you got Snipe. Snipe's in the chat. He's active all the time. Stromcon is going to be there. IRK Agi. Going to be a great time. You don't want to miss it. Everyone else, just have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Enjoy yourselves. Thanks for stopping by.